Yeah, we all watched the whole game. I mean, I stayed up for the whole thing. That was a good game, and
it was entertaining.
Jake Browning was great. I mean,
he was. Wow,
he was terrific. What a
second NFL start. Looked like you've been doing it for years.
Well, I mean, sometimes, and you know this, sometimes you get lucky in a broadcast, but they're sitting there talking about how short he's throwing it. When are they going to let this kid throw? And I mean, the next 4 passes after that, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, how about now, guys? How about they let him do it now?
Guess they're taking the training wheels off. Yeah.
I should say I missed Jacksonville's score because I was at gymnastics, of course.
They stopped Cincinnati since he had like a 4th and 4 on their 42 or 3, and they sacked him near midfield. So I think they only had to go 49 yards.
Okay.
And first play was like a 27-yard play to Kirk, who hurt his groin on the catch and never came back.
Right.
And then they scored a few plays later.
So I think I got to find this here. See if I can.
How about that the wide receiver pass right to Josh Allen? That's like, holy, who were you trying to throw it to there?
Yeah.
Because it sure looked like you were trying to throw it to Josh Allen.
So I found something interesting. Not interesting. I thought it was pretty funny that I'm going to do with you today there's a story on NBC2 about a panther that was found sleeping in a stairwell. But in the article, it lists what to do if you are encountered with the panther. And I thought we would go over that at some point today.
How about go the other way?
Not what you're again. This will be a great segment. Best stuff for Trent. Loaded it on Christmas Day.
Yep. Bud Elliott with just another great string of tweets yesterday. Just sticking it to all these people that think they know what they're talking about.
Ooh, Fran McCaffrey threw a nutty in the first half.
Did he?
Fran McCaffrey throwing a nutty? Wow.
Best part is they got the Purdue mascot in the background as he's going nuts. Like this. That's pretty good.
You remember him staring down the ref last year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was
so
a joke.
Funny. He wanted to get tossed. They ended up winning that game.
I know, which is what sucks. Rewards that behavior. I'm actually surprised Iowa puts up with it. That seems very un-Iowa-like.
Well, it ain't like he's done anything either.
Certainly not in the dance. Him and Rick Barnes, once they get to the tournament, pick against them.
I always do. Okay, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this first Tuesday of December. Hope your week got off to a good start. Thanks for being with us. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. I'm as tired as I've been. And I feel like you on a Tuesday morning. That game was pretty good. That kept me up last night.
Hold on. You stay up for the whole thing?
Whole damn thing.
Oh, baby. Wow. I'm wondering if a few people followed in your footsteps then. It was a good game.
It was.
I mean, unless you had the Jags -10 or, you had Christian Kirk in a fantasy league and he got hurt on the first offensive play of the Jags. And, like Baby Jules in our Twitch chat room Lost my fantasy game by 3. Had Kirk playing last night. Oh well. If you have Trevor Lawrence going forward, because, well, looks like he's going to be out a while. But it was a good game.
It felt awful for Jags fans, not because they lost the game, but because they lost their quarterback. We don't know for how long.
And Kirk.
Right. Yeah.
What Elliott tweets, Christian Kirk is hurt. Unfortunately, the Jaguars are now ineligible for the playoffs.
Well, I do want to point something out. So on Friday, Washington was a 10-point underdog. They won outright. Last night, the Bengals, with a backup quarterback, were 10-point underdogs on the road and won outright. How ironic. Also, the quarterback leading the Bengals to the win was a Washington Husky. Backup
Well, it looks
quarterback.
like only Huskies and former Huskies can lead their team from double-digit underdogs.
Well, Seminoles are not going to be given the chance.
No, they're not, David.
No. But isn't sports great? Aren't sports great? I mean, Jake Browning, for a young guy, he's a journeyman. And he's been, 14 different transactions, Joe Buck said last night, involving Jake Browning in his quote-unquote pro football career. Finally sticks as the backup quarterback. Last week, Mark, looks like, oh boy, he's not up for this. Their season's over, and they may need a backup quarterback to Joe Burrow. Maybe they need to go sign a veteran in the offseason. And the next week,
Who's Joe Burrow?
I just needed a front 9, guys, to loosen up. I'm going to do one of those 51-37s. I'm going to break 90 the hard way.
Had to go there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, come on now.
I guess I can really relate.
I think a lot of us can really relate. That's what Jake Browning's last 2 weeks have been. In fact, Mark, I don't know if he shot one over on the back. He may have shot 1 or 2 under.
He may have, David. That was one hell of a performance. And I said it to you before the game. Sometimes broadcasters have great games. Sometimes they're fortunate in what they say, but I had to laugh last night. He's thrown all these passes early, and they're commenting on the fact that he hasn't thrown a pass more than 4 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Mark, you knew it as soon as we did. He's 8 for 8, and he hasn't thrown a pass beyond 4 yards to the line of scrimmage.
Are they going to let this kid throw the ball? Well, literally, and I don't know if it was Joe or Troy that said, are they going to let this kid throw the ball? And the next 4 plays, zip,
Boom.
zip,
Yep.
zip, zip. And he throws it all over the lot, and you're like, what the hell's going on out here?
Jake Browning decided, I always wanted to be Marino to Duper and Clayton, and I've got a Duper and a Clayton, so let's go.
And, we did get a Troy laugh at one point late in the first half when they had run 18 passes and 11 runs, and he's like, that's not how I saw this game going. Yes. So that game brought a lot to the table when you weren't, when you're not expecting anything. Monday Night Football, you got Tua playing the guitar. Sorry, you missed that. You were busy.
Heard about it though.
He can
Heard
play the
about
guitar.
it.
He's good.
Is he good? Is he?
Yeah. I was impressed.
You would think he would be. The little hand-eye coordination. You would think. No?
Okay, takes a lot of practice. I was like, wow, that all right, Tua.
Hey, have you ever spent any time in Tuscaloosa, Alabama? You'd learn an instrument too.
Thought they had to practice a little more than that, David.
Well, no, they do, but once you go back to the dorm room or the off-campus housing, I mean, it's not the most happening city in America.
Or state in the union, for that matter.
No, things are a little slower there. Yep. So I could see
Lotto, drive to Georgia. Sorry.
Exactly. I could see him taking up an instrument. So, good night for the Dolphins.
Really good night.
I mean, think about the last 2 primetime games. the two teams that were 8-3 that could have been ahead of them in the standings with conference records and head-to-head and all that, they went LL. And by the way, how about the two winning quarterbacks in prime time the last two nights? Jordan Love and Jake Browning.
And both looked really good
Yeah.
in their wins.
Yes, they did. Tell you what, though. You know what helps? I mean, we always say it's great to have a Joe Burrow, and it is, Mark. I mean, don't get me wrong. As wonderful as Jake Browning was, you'd rather have a Joe Burrow. But you know what helps? A Jamar Chase. It really does. A Jamar Chase helps. Put it this way. I don't know if you can cover him one-on-one, but the guys on Jacksonville can't.
No, and yet they kept trying. I mean, that is.
I will say Cincinnati makes it tough on you. A lot of 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. And Jags with a ton of injuries last night. They lost 2 guys in the secondary early in the game. I mean, they got their 7th DB in the game mid-first quarter. You know, they finished the game without their left tackle, finished the game without their quarterback. Whew. You know, went into the game without their starting left tackle. I mean, Jacksonville's suddenly banged up. And
right.
By the way.
And now it's a short week for Jacksonville. And you can't take any guarantees without Trevor Lawrence going forward. And they're on the road to take on the Browns. So a battle of backup quarterbacks next week.
Well, Mark,
one of them 67 years old, the other one much younger.
Right. I mean, Flacco's wearing clothing to the game older than Jake Browning, for goodness sakes. But, Mark, just because you bill it as a battle of backup quarterbacks, hell, that sounds like it's half the league right now.
It is half the league right now.
It's a battle of backup quarterbacks.
That's why I think I was so excited to see Jake Browning play as well as he did. And I know the odds are it won't last, but when we're seeing this huge difference in quarterback play because we have starters and third stringers out there, it's nice to see a backup get on the field and perform. We've not had a lot of that this year.
Did you hear the one stat that they gave as to how many touchdowns he threw in high school and how many he threw his senior year? He threw 92 touchdowns as a senior in high school. Now, just think about that for a second. How many games do you play? Even on, like, you're a state champion.
What, 11, 12 if you're a state champ?
I mean, you know, I think my high
maybe
school
13?
Senior year of high school, we won a state championship. We played either 14 or 15 games.
That's a lot.
Right.
But okay, I'll get 15 games.
I think it was a 10-game regular season, and we played 4 playoff games, I think. So
I just say 15 because the math's easy. That's 6
right.
a game.
Yeah, it's 6 a game. And
that's
then
15.
And then I'll throw a couple more. Right. That's your senior year of high school. Damn.
If it's 13 a game, if it's 13, that's 7. You know what I mean? That it doesn't take long. So yeah, he obviously was and was a good quarterback at Washington. So
right. Can I tell you? And you know, this comes back, I'll get in trouble. But here's the difference between ESPN and Fox, by the way. So he played in Folsom, California. And so, you know, Troy at one point said, they're going to be playing a lot of Johnny Cash in Folsom, California tonight. Now, we would have gone to break on Fox, and they would have had Johnny Cash playing. Okay? They had some, you know, song that sounded like, you know, Johnny Cash would have liked it, but it wasn't Johnny Cash going to break on ESPN. I thought to myself right there, you know, Fox would have had, you know, Folsom Prison, you know, going to break there. They would have queued that sucker up. But
I was this is a pet peeve of mine. You're in Jacksonville. I expected to have a little petty, maybe a little Skinnered at some time. I thought there would be something that would be reflective of Jacksonville, Florida during the broadcast. That's a me thing. You know that.
I was very collegiate in the booth before the game. Kept trying to tell the two of them, you have no idea how much folks are fired up for this. This is like as big as Florida, Georgia, which you two don't understand. I looked at Troy. I go, think Oklahoma, Texas. Think USC, UCLA. So he got it. I looked at Joe, and I go, nah, you wouldn't get it.
Thinks Cardinals, Cubs.
Right. And so then, and I'm yelling every 20 minutes, Duval. Buck's like, one more and you're fired. I'm like, I just want to get you in the mood. He goes, oh, we're in the mood, all right.
Unfortunately, the Jags at the end were not in the mood.
No.
Just when they had the division.
We
All
have
themselves.
Did we put an X next to it, or did we do the soft imprint and the claret jug? I don't think we put the X.
We had an X.
I don't think you guys did the X.
I don't think we.
Out of respect for CJ Stroud, I don't think you guys did it.
Yeah, I thought we gave the Chiefs the West, but we didn't give the Jags the South. We held off.
I'd have to go to the tape, David, and I don't have time. So I'll take your word for it and say we didn't. But boy, we were close.
We gave the Niners, the Lions, and the Chiefs, I thought, the division.
Okay. I knew we gave 3.
That's where I think we are. And did we give the Dolphins? Huh? By the way, your 1 seed in the AFC this morning? Miami Dolphins.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Not a real fan unless you're physically sick after a loss. I don't know about that, but
Then I'm not a real fan.
Mark just lets it roll off his
Oh,
back.
come on. I love my teams. I'm 54 years old. I don't get physically sick if they lose anymore. I'm not 10.
Got bigger fish to fry.
I did not have Sveta and Garrity crash at the condo last night, but I did drive them to the place on the highway where they could meet up with the Uber and be taken to their hotel. How was
everybody's spirits about the hotel being an hour away from the stadium?
Not good. Not good at all.
I mean, because this is Jacksonville. There are decent hotels downtown.
Yes, and we were not in any of them. Yes. It was hysterical getting out, and it's like, hey, there's the Hyatt where we should be staying. Or, no, wait, there's the Marriott. No, we could be there. Nope. Not only that, those guys have 7 a.m. flights out. The car was picking them up. They were having, that's the other thing. They weren't given a
They
rest.
want to do they want to do this segment. They're up.
They are up. Well, they're at the airport.
Sveta on, talk to him about his career as a stats guy. Come on.
Yep.
Let's go behind the scenes.
They're probably just arriving at Jacksonville International.
Which in and of itself is a great term.
Yes.
With direct flights to the Bahamas.
By international, what do you mean? Well, they've got an IHOP.
Hey, what's your day like today? Do you have 20 minutes that I can dial you up with my computer?
20 minutes?
Or 5 minutes? 3 minutes?
When do you want to do it?
When I get home.
So at like 10:10?
Yeah. Probably like 10:20 because it'll take me a little bit to set up. I got to test this microphone out.
All right, good.
I know it's errand day, so that's why I didn't want to.
Well, it's also nap day. It's just nice.
I got a little one yesterday, and it was the key to me staying up for the game.
Yep. They're glorious. Naps are.
I don't even know if I fully fell asleep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I really went down, but I had 40 minutes of
so nice to lay there.
Lay down silence.
Yeah.
I had the dog with me. Cat came up for a little while.
They're just amazing. Not the dog and the cat, the nap.
But they're not all bad.
No, they're not. Last cat we had used to sleep on my chest.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. David Samson joins us in 40 minutes. It's the first Tuesday of December, and thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton along the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The Bengals with the upset, keeping their season alive. They're just a game out of the playoffs. Seems like, hell, just about everybody can be within a game of the playoffs, right?
Well, I mean, the Jags, by all accounts, were eliminated last night. They can't qualify now with their quarterback out.
Correct.
The AFC North is out, with the exception of Baltimore.
Correct.
And they may make a decision today just to sit Lamar for the rest of the season so they can qualify for the playoffs.
Right. I mean, because they've basically been given a berth in the playoffs. Now they just, have to not screw it up. This just in, that Miami at Baltimore game looks big. It's just me. We're still a few weeks away. But that looks like that could be a big game. And by big game, I mean determine who's the 1 seed. Do you know we're saying that about the Miami Dolphins?
I know. Here's the thing. I find it difficult to believe Miami's going to run the table. I find it difficult to believe Baltimore's going to run the table.
Right. I agree. So then the difference could be who beats the other.
Definitely. But it means Kansas City's still alive
if
they indeed run the table.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we'll find out later today, supposedly, about the extent of Trevor Lawrence's injury. All I know is that with Kenny Pickett, and is he out for the year or not? They were saying yesterday that if he had surgery, he likely was going to be out for the year.
And then they said that he's having surgery.
Right. But, remember, Tua had that high ankle sprain surgery. A couple of other guys have had it, and it actually hastens their return. It wasn't, he had surgery, he's out for the year. When you have that high ankle sprain surgical procedure that's about 5 years old, it's supposed to hasten your return. So
that's the same thing Bowers, the kid from Georgia, had, came back and pretty.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't 100%, but he came back and could play. And that's a tight end. So you would like to think that Pickett in 4 weeks, right? Although it's most of the rest of the season. But let's be honest, how long he's held out will depend on how Trubisky plays. How's your ankle? Hey, don't hurry. I mean, that's if Trubisky plays like, Jake Browning.
Well, it's tough to think that he will based on what I watched last week. But then again, we saw Browning a couple of weeks ago play just as badly against Pittsburgh. And
right. So if Trubisky goes out and looks like Trubisky, you're like going over to Pickett going, so what do you think?
Next week, you ready?
It just, can you stand on it?
Well, they signed Trace McSorley.
Oh, well, in that case.
A lot of Penn State fans that are probably fired up about that.
The guy, Trace McSorley, A.J. McCarron was activated onto the active roster last night. I mean, we were all trying to feed lines to Joe Buck. Hey, come on, pull a Musburger. Just bring up McCarron and look at Troy and go, the quarterbacks get all the girls. No? Yeah, we can get some people in trouble. It's a good thing they don't listen to us. Unless it involves the actual play on the field. They block us out about all the other stuff.
Good.
Yeah, it's a smart move.
The three of you have become very snarky up there, it seems.
Well, we're trying to have fun. We're trying to amuse ourselves. That's for sure. So what are we? We're 12 or 13 games in, depending on whether or not you've had your bye week. It is interesting. These standings are interesting. When do we go to the committee, by the way?
Think they meet this week.
No, really? This early? No, I'm wondering, when do they go to the committee? Is it Christmas weekend? Christmas is on a Monday. Is that when we have the show?
Can't even imagine.
I know. I'm pointing it out. Just listen, we love college football. It is ridiculous, though. We have to acknowledge that. It's having one league with the DH and the other not for 50 years. I mean, for those of us that love baseball, yes, we love baseball. That was absurd. Miller and Moulton have been doing this for 17 years, and for like 15 of them, we said, okay, imagine the Eastern Conference has the three-point shot, and the Western Conference doesn't.
Or the AFC, it's 1 foot in bounds, and in the NFC, you have to get both feet in bounds.
Right. How does that sound? Oh, it sounds ridiculous. Yeah. Yes. So now, I say, Mark, we wait 2-3 weeks, and then we turn to the committee.
I'm telling you, there's some of what Brady said a couple weeks ago about the league that I agree with him on, but the league continues to deliver with, you look at that Indianapolis game from last week. That thing was horrific, but it had so much greatness about it that you couldn't take your eyes off of it. Last night, a backup quarterback looks like the second coming.
Road teams went 8-5 this week. Also, wasn't it nice to have a primetime game with some scoring?
You got an over last night, David.
A big over. I was getting chastised by a couple friends of mine in the third quarter. Yeah, you and your primetime games, and they've been under. Well, they have. It's just a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. Primetime games have been a serious under. Tonight, Not so much.
Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night, all went over. For that
Really?
matter, yeah.
Yeah, well, Thursday night definitely did. Yeah, I guess 46. I mean,
It was 43, so it went over.
Okay, all right.
And for
Cool.
that matter, the 425 game, not a primetime game, but that went way over too. I mean, the featured games, we finally got some scoring.
Yeah, no question.
Needed Jake Browning and Jordan Love to do a lot of it for us, but
That's
hell,
okay. We don't care where we get the quarterback play from.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it's coming from Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence. No. Jake Browning and Jordan Love.
Yeah, there you go. That's why we love sports. We have no idea what's going to happen. No idea at all. That's why we watch. Oh, I know what's going to happen. No, you don't.
no, for as much as people thought the Niners game was going to have, I mean, no one saw them blowing them out.
No. Blowing them out. 10-1 team, for goodness sakes. Please. I tell you what, Mark, the committee, I mean, even though the Eagles have a better record, I think the committee's leaning towards making the Niners a 1 seed.
And what are they going to do in the AFC, David?
And that was a non-conference game, I know. But, this week it's a conference game when the Eagles and the Cowboys play. Just Florida State fan, we're not doing this to rub it in. We're just doing this to point out that we love college football. It is absurd. I mean, it is. Because it's not a playoff. Mark, what is it again?
It's an invitational.
It's the Bristol Invitational.
Bristol Invitational.
Next year, it'll become the BH Invitational, Bristol Hollywood, when Fox can start determining who the other half of the Invitational is.
When we have 4 SEC teams, 4 Big Ten teams, a group of 5 team, an ACC team, a Big 12 team, and then one other team from the SEC or Big Ten, depending.
Yes.
One of them will get 5.
The 9th school between the Big Ten and the SEC will do rock, paper, scissors, and they will be the final team.
Miller and Moulton. David Samson on the show today. Pat Kirwan on the show today. The starting 5 is next. Thanks for listening.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I did not. Canada relief. This is a wild NFL weekend because you got your 2 Monday night games. Every game, literally, a team's in the playoff on. Thursday night, New England at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's still in it. Carolina and New Orleans. New Orleans is still in it. Rams and Baltimore. Colts and Bengals. Jags and Browns. Lions and Bears. Bucks, Falcons. Texans play the Jets. Seahawks, Niners. Vikings, Raiders. Bills, Chiefs. Broncos, Chargers. Eagles, Cowboys. And then the 2 Monday night games, the Packers and Dolphins are still in it. I mean, usually there's 3 or 4 games that just have nothing at this point of the year.
Mm-hmm.
This is when you desperately need it, too.
Right.
With a month off of college football. Everyone's favorite TV show.
But it's just, but I mean, that's just unreal. There's.
Yeah. No, you're right. I agree. That's pretty crazy this deep into the year. So, just curious, did the starting 5 used to be actually like 5 things that
That was always the intention.
But here's how it would go. It would be number 1, the NFL. Okay. Number 2, college football. Number 3, the NBA. Number 4, the NHL. And number 5, Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
It really should be the starting lineup.
Right.
I just have been wondering that this whole time, but I didn't want to get chastised by David. I
No?
finally felt like I could ask that question.
No, it's a
I've asked it a few times myself.
Right. I believe also when we first did it, wasn't it a shorter segment? And did we move it? Did we start this in our second act?
I don't, you stole it from NBA radio.
Yes, I did.
Mark, you should start giving a 6th man.
Well, it just like I stole yes, no, maybe so from NHL radio.
By the way, Paul, yes, you're correct. It's just I'm thinking college football playoff.
In bowl games, Paul, don't.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking what matters.
Don't matter. I mean, bowl games have never mattered less with the amount of kids that are in the transfer portal and the guys that are opting out.
This Orange Bowl is going to be. I mean, no one cares. The fan base.
Now, this is where you really got to pay attention to guys like Bud Elliott because they follow the lineup so well and see if you want to bet and find out what the hell they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And going into next year, like with guys graduating and transferring, seeing who's actually good, who's worth anything.
Our buddy John Cassio was freaking out last night.
Why?
Yeah, about the transfer portal. It's like, where the have you been? He's like, yeah, but these quarterbacks. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Remember the guy left Wake Forest last year for Notre Dame? I mean, you know, remember Dylan Gabriel 2 years ago left UCF for Oklahoma. Why are you surprised he's now leaving Oklahoma? Adam, are you okay? Was worried about you driving home last night. What was the final tally, by the way, on the poll question? What was the percentage?
Dun, 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 dun. Let's see here.
It is ironic, Johnny Mac.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, which brings with it David Samson. He of the Nothing Personal with David Samson. The baseball winter meeting is underway. We'll talk to David about, so what are the winter meetings like? You just sit in your room, order a bunch of room service, company credit card. What's it really like? You know, the hard-hitting stuff. That's what we do here on Miller and Moulton. It is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
And Trent, with a very valid question during the break, he's kind of like, so this starting 5 thing, was it supposed to be like 5 points? And he left unsaid what he then meant, which is like, because it's like a Faulkner novel. And Mark's like, yes. And I go, well, ideally it would be like number 1, the NFL. But see, Trent, that would mean like more work for you.
Hey, listen, I love the way you do it. I'm not complaining.
Really?
I was curious.
I think it's a fair question. I think it should be called the starting lineup, not the starting 5. It leaves you with a lot more creativity.
Gotcha.
But that, again, requires more work and get the voice person, you know, I mean,
right.
With the budget that we have.
Exactly. No, number 1.
By the way, you want to sponsor this segment, give me a call.
Yeah, really. And $20 should do it, by the way. Number 1, the NFL. How about them Bengals? By the way, what do we think of the uniforms? Okay, do we like them? The white and just the tiger stripes, no orange at all.
I don't like the whites.
Joe Burrow pulls it off a lot better, I'll say that.
Well, Joe Burrow pulls everything off a lot better, but that's my man crush on Joe Burrow. So just curious, what do we think of the uniforms? I will say they look a lot better when they're moving up and down the field. And, man, Cincinnati looked good. Jake Browning. Hell, is Jake Browning going to be like the AFC Offensive Player of the Week?
Channeling is Nick Foles from a few years ago. It's his time to run this out for the rest of the year, David.
Well, it was a must-win for the Bengals, and they got it in overtime. 34-31. Cincy 6-6. Jacksonville falls to 8-4. They now have just a 1-game lead in the AFC South, although they do have the best division record. And right now, that would be the tiebreaker. Remember, they swept the Colts, split with the Texans, who are both 7-5. But late in the game, Trevor Lawrence hurt. It looks to be, at the very least, a severe right ankle sprain. So we'll see how long he's going to miss. Right now, the AFC playoffs, the Miami Dolphins would get the bye. Words that have never been said. Well, at least not for 30 years. Baltimore would be the 2, KC the 3, Jacksonville the 4, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Indianapolis, all at 7-5, all your wild cards. And then, you know, you figure it out after that. Houston's 7-5, who's on their way out. You got Cincy, Buffalo, and Denver, all at 6-6. This is exciting, Mark.
Thank goodness. League always delivers, even though it can't give us starting quarterbacks for most of the teams. It's delivering excitement to the playoff race.
I don't know who the committee's going to choose to play in the playoffs coming up here in a month. Kenny Pickett had surgery for his high ankle sprain. Yesterday, we were told if he has surgery, he's out for the year. But the Steelers are not proclaiming him out for the season. Mitchell Trubisky is going to have to play, though, the next couple of weeks at the very least. Shaq Leonard, he chose the Eagles over the Cowboys. He visited them both, met with their owners, and he said, Jera, I'm sorry. I'm going to Philly. And Mark, I don't know if you noticed on Sunday, but the Titans, they had not one but 2 blocked punts. They pulled off that Patriots thing where the guy runs in full speed and they snap it and he's got a running head start. Hell, I don't even know if that was a blocked punt or if that was a sack fumble. He didn't come close to getting that punt off. Well, anyway, they fired the special teams coordinator. It's your fault. Bum. Number 2, college football. Well,
see what you did, Trent? Do you see what you did? Now he's going to announce everyone with that voice.
Is that so bad?
Number 2,
I don't think that's so
college
bad.
football.
And that's just how I sounded. The 4 finalists for the Heisman Trophy: Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr., you know, the quarterbacks in the Pac-12 title game for Oregon and Washington, respectively. Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. Nice they invited somebody that doesn't play quarterback, especially since he's the best player in the country. But the winner, they're going to invite LSU's Jaden Daniels. Nice of them to invite the winner also.
Bad, too, because 3 Big Ten representatives here, they could do a, 30 for 30 type thing for it on the Big Ten network after this is done, but I don't know.
I know that's true. Big Ten presents Michael Penix Jr.
A Heisman story.
Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord said, I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here. Well, what do you mean you're a starting quarterback? I don't know for how long. I'm out of here. And Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel. Got to admit, a little surprise there. I mean, I guess there's more money somewhere else, but I don't know. I was thinking he was making a pretty good buck at Oklahoma. So, number 3, the NBA. The in-season tournament. It's exciting. Nobody knows who's playing where. What are they playing for again?
It's for the in-season tournament trophy, David. It's what it's all about.
I mean, is it 3 nights?
Some money.
Is it 3 nights at the Mirage? I mean, is that what we're playing for here? Indiana beat Boston. What the heck? 122-112. And New Orleans went into Sacramento and beat the Kings 127-117. So the Pacers and the Pelicans are going to Vegas. Well, that's exciting.
Don't you think that after this weekend in Vegas, you bet against all the tournament teams the first game out of Vegas?
Well, yeah, because I think there'll be a lot of load management.
Right.
That first game. Mm-hmm. Knicks, Bucks, Phoenix, and the Lakers tonight. The 2 winners go to Vegas. It's very personal for LeBron. Remember, he wants to own the NBA team that's coming to Vegas. And LeBron's already let us know that they're getting a team. So that was nice of him to let us know where the, next 2 NBA teams are going, because we know the other one's going to Seattle. Number 4, the NHL. Vasilevsky with his first.
Are you happy? Are you happy over there?
Delighted.
Vasi is back. First shutout of the season, 25 saves. Very impressive effort for the Lightning last night. It was kind of like, you know what? We're tired of this mediocrity. Going to show everybody when we want to, we're still a cup contender. Because you guys think Dallas is a cup contender. We're going to show them. 4-0 Tampa Bay.
This Kucherov guy's pretty good.
He really is. When he's healthy, he is good.
Man, oh man, is he good.
Goal and a helper last night for the really good forward. Flyers beat the Penguins 2-1 in overtime. Your wife okay?
Yeah, we watched it. Had it on the other TV. She was fine. It was overtime.
Really? Hold on. She's fine losing to the Flyers? They hate each other. She's okay with that. Lose to the Rangers, she gets bent out of shape. Lose to the Flyers, she's okay. Okay, honey, I'm going to bed now.
David, that is exactly what happened last night.
I don't get it. I really don't. Montreal doubled up the Kraken 4-2. Do you think they knew it was their anniversary? Wasn't yesterday like when
Yes.
Les Habitants came into existence? Winnipeg 2-1 over Carolina. Arizona 6-0 over the Caps. And St. Louis went into Vegas. Beat the Golden Knights in overtime 2-1. And finally, number 5, Major League Baseball. The Dodgers announced Mookie Betts is now a second baseman.
Because he can play anywhere.
Right. We get that. And last year they had a bunch of injuries in the infield, and he raised his hand and he said, I actually came up as an infielder. I was a second baseman, but I was with the Red Sox. They had this Dustin Pedroia guy. And so they said, listen, you're not going to play much at second. Why don't you learn another position? So I became an outfielder. But if you guys need me, I can play second base. And he filled in. He was good. But Mookie Betts might be the best right fielder in baseball. And they're going to move him full-time now to second base. Mark, I wonder if it's because they're going to go acquire an outfielder. Although next year he's not going to be able to play the outfield. He's only going to be the DH. Do you think maybe there's something there? Is there a high-priced outfielder who's on the market, Mark? So we didn't talk about this yesterday because I don't know if you heard, but the committee got together and kept out a 13-0 Florida State team for the playoff. So we didn't feel there was the need to bring up things like, Jim Leland got elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame over the weekend. Also, Milwaukee signed the number 1 or number 2 prospect in all of baseball, depending on which service you subscribe to. 19-year-old Jackson Chourio. He hasn't played a day yet in the majors. They signed him to a minimum 8-year, $82 million deal with a couple of option years. It could be a 10-year, $142.5 million deal. So this is a, quote, gamble by the Brewers. And by the same token, they buy out all his arbitration years and first 2 years of free agency. And could be the first 4 years of free agency. Now, this has been done like 6 times previously. 4 of the 6 did not turn out all that great. 2 of them did for the team. So, Mark, if you were advising Jackson Chourio, would you say, yeah, take the money? It's guaranteed, take the money. Or would you go, listen, if you are 3/4 of the player they say you're going to be, you're leaving a load of money on the table.
Yeah, I don't know how an agent could have someone sign that contract. I don't. I know that it's the money up front.
Well, remember, rookie salary is like, $750,000, and then he'll make like $1 million. And so, he could be 4 years in the majors and make about $7 million. All right. And so you're halfway through that contract. You've made $7 million instead of 8 for 82. You're looking at the agent going, really? I'm losing money on this. He's like, trust me. The arbitration years are coming. The arbitration years are coming. Come on now.
It's fascinating. It really is, David, what you do, because it's $82 million. It's not like it's chump change.
No, it's not. And by the way, it goes a long way in Milwaukee. The Brewers also signed Wade Miley. He turned down a 1-year, $10 million option. He ends up signing a 1-year, $7 million contract with incentives he could make 11. Sounds like the Brewers played him. I'd like to be played for $7 million, though. I really would. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Feel good about yourself, Trent, because you kept him to 5. That means we didn't get any golf in there, any tennis, any pickleball. There was nothing else. There might have been 1 or 2 more things on the sheet, but because You pressed him on 5. We got 5 today.
Mark just giving me a death stare that entire
Yeah,
segment.
he
Every time
really,
David
he
talks.
really is. He's like, listen, it's bad enough I got to listen to this Yahoo. Okay. The reason he now sounds that way is because of you. You know, I'm the one that hired you, right? That's the look that Mark had yesterday, or just now, towards me and Trent. I got to put over the one. I hired the other. Who do I blame for this? Mark, I say you blame the committee.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What was the code to get 20% off?
Samson sucks 20. God, that was a funny bit.
I saw that tweet yesterday. I said that had to be good stuff.
It was pretty funny, and we in one day we did more than we had done since the store opened last Friday. So it was just and more money, more revenue, more orders total. And today the code, Pablo's doing a segment, and his code is going to be Pablo Asshole 20, and it's going to be for 20% increase in the cost of the merchandise. For Dan being upset that Pablo has more stuff in the store. But then if people are actually dumb enough to use Pablo plus 20 and they hit enter, it will actually be a 20% discount. That's the Easter egg. But we're not going to say that publicly. We're going to let people discover it if they do, and if they don't, they don't. It's all a bit.
It's all a bit, David. Just like the college football playoff committee. It's all a bit.
It's just
David, it's a television show. We've been trying to tell you. People think it's a sport. It's a long-running TV series. It's like Bonanza with footballs.
I am more than happy to talk about it. I did the first, I think, 17 minutes of the show yesterday about it.
Well, the first thing we have to do, we have to ask you a very hard-hitting question. All right, that's what we're going to start with. Very hard-hitting.
Dove.
Okay.
That's probably going to be my answer.
Good to know.
Mark? See, that's what a co-host can do to the other. It's kind of like when the play-by-play doesn't have anything to say. They just then turn and look at the analyst and just say their name. Troy?
Anything. Just say something.
Yep. Gary?
Sometimes silence can be okay when you're doing a baseball game. Yeah. On a show like this, it's hard to do.
Yes. It doesn't, transfer quite as well.
Right.
You in the city?
Yes.
Huh?
I have a sporting class with Skipper tomorrow.
Well, I'll be there Sunday, Monday.
Nice. Wait, for which game?
Packers Giants, unfortunately. I was holding out for the Titans Dolphins, but Jordan Love had to go, start winning games. And then Tommy DeVito, or Vito de Tommy.
At least it's New York. It's not the end of the world.
No. It's in Lower Manhattan, 2 blocks from the Freedom Tower.
I like that area. And you can get out to MetLife much easier from there.
Not as easy as Hoboken, David, but...
That is very true. Well, there's a hotel right by MetLife that you could stay at.
Well, it's a dump, but yes.
It's shitty.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's that time and that day of the week where we welcome David Samson, he of the Nothing Personal with David Samson daily podcast. Every weekday. He does it live at 8 o'clock. CBS Sports HQ. Follow him on Twitter/X at David the letter P Samson, David P Samson. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to December. How are you?
I am very well. It's Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock. What could be wrong?
Well, we have a very hard-hitting question to start things off with. So what are the winter meetings like? What do you do? Who do you see? Who do you talk to? How much money can you spend at the gift shop? The winter meetings are underway in Nashville. Honestly, is it fun? Is it arduous? I mean, what's a winter meetings like?
Let me tell you about winter meetings. There's 2 types. If you're in the market for the big free agents, so if you're in the market for Ohtani or Bellinger this year, you are being sought after by every single reporter. You are being looked at by every other team in the meetings. Each team gets its own suite. You get a list of where the other teams are. Some are on the 10th floor, then the 12th floor, and the suites are given out by experience. If you've been a GM for a particular team for a day, you get the worst suite, even if you're the most experienced GM in terms of years served overall in baseball. But if you've been the GM of your team for 10 years, like Brian Cashman has, he gets the biggest suite, and it goes from there. You get a list of where everyone is, and you decide which suites you're going to visit during the course of the winter meetings. And it's a really big thing because you're discussing a trade like the Padres and Juan Soto. and the Yankees. So what you do is you're AJ Preller in his suite. You call up Brian Cashman in his suite and say, how are you guys on Monday at 2 p.m.? All right, we'll meet then. Then at about 1:45 p.m., you choose who's coming with you to the meeting. You never go alone. You've got 20 people in your room, but you never go with 20. It's too many. You go with people who are both going to walk with you to the suite, then go into the suite with you. And some of them walk with you to the suite and stand outside the suite during the meeting.
Ooh.
And
I know what my role would be.
Mark,
outside the
Mark,
suite.
that's Mark. That would be us.
Yep.
We'd be the security guys. Right.
I have got
let us in.
a true story for you that I don't know that I've ever told, but it's absolute. We were meeting with the Red Sox, and Larry Lucchino was the president of the Red Sox at the time, and he was not in the meeting. We walked into the suite. He was still there. We walked in. They covered their board because every team has a board of who they're trying to get, what their lineup looks like. They cover their board. Then Larry Lucchino leaves because he doesn't want to make it look like he's involved in the baseball side. Except Larry Lucchino has his ear to the door through a cup through the course of the meeting. And the reason we know this is that once the meeting ended, while people were still saying goodbye, so it seems as though it's still going on, I quickly open the door and I see this person scurrying away. And it was Larry. So it wouldn't be looked at as he was eavesdropping or looking at the meeting. But there's all this crazy chicanery. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's really not important. And the reason it's not important is that communication now is so much more frequent. There's text, there's FaceTime, that this desire to see people you don't get to see other than the winter meetings or the GM meetings, that feeling doesn't exist anymore. So that sense of urgency doesn't exist anymore to get something done during the winter meetings or get it done during the GM meetings. That used to be a thing, not as much a thing anymore. MLB wants you to do big things because they want to own the news cycle this week. So that's what MLB and the commissioner's office is talking to the teams about. Hey, if you're going to sign Ohtani, please do it now. We'll have them come to the winter meetings. We'll do a huge press conference. It'll be national, and it'll take away from NBA and NFL. But teams don't really necessarily care about that anymore.
It is amazing. We do a little segment on this show. Today was the day when, and as I'm always prepping for it, I like this week, I've seen all these baseball trades from days gone by, and we don't see that. And there's your reason behind it is just simply communications more prevalent and more easily done between teams now. Kind of fascinating. All right, Ohtani, Angels, Jays, Braves, Dodgers. What's your hunch tell you?
Well, I have an official wait to see on Nothing Personal, and I've been saying it from the beginning that he's going to stay with the Angels. Whoa. And while I may be on an island, finally yesterday, somebody in the media came out and said, he may still stay with the Angels. And I had been on that from the start. I think that you underestimate the comfort that he has in LA. You may be underestimating any sort of deal that may have existed with Artie Moreno when he first signed. You may be underestimating how Artie Moreno doesn't want to lose him because he could have traded him at the deadline last year, along with everyone else he traded. All he had to do was ask Ohtani, are you okay with going to a winner? Or you want to win? I'll trade you a team that could be in the playoffs and then come back to me for next year. It wouldn't be out of the question. There are players who have done that. I think Chapman may have gone to the Cubs to win a World Series and then came right back to the Yankees. So these things are not out of the question. On the other hand, there are a lot of teams who could use him, but the question is, what will the deal look like? If he's going to get paid by any team to be a pitcher next year, that team's going to get him. And what I mean by that is I value him as a $30 million hitter and a $30 million pitcher, but he's not pitching for me next year. I don't want to give him $60 million next year because that simply does not make sense because he's not a $60 million hitter. If there's a team out there who will structure a contract where he could get $60 million, and if someone's offering him 60 over 10, holy cow, Artie Moreno will have an opportunity to match. But if he matches that, I can't imagine why he would.
For the record, I have said Seattle from the beginning, and I find it very interesting the salary maneuvering they've done in the last week, which is not going over well in the Pacific Northwest. They've unloaded about $20 million in salaries, and I wonder why it is they're doing it if they're not signing a big fish.
Because the players are overpaid and stink. I would like to address this. I may not have had this plan for today, but it really makes me livid that there are people who view what Seattle did, and I'll criticize Jerry Dipoto until I'm blue in the face. What he did with that trade was a chef's kiss. Getting rid of Gonzalez and getting rid of White. Don't forget, White was that guy they paid before he even played a day in the big leagues, like the Brewers guy, giving all this money to people, don't know whether or not they're going to be performing. They weren't performing. And they got the Braves to take all that money on the hope that maybe Kelenic may become what he was supposed to become, even though there's no chance he'll ever become what he was supposed to be, which was the greatest, the GOAT. So did he attach 2 bad contracts to a sort of bad contract? Yeah, good for him. That's not a salary dump. That's being smart and recognizing the mistakes you made and then getting someone else to buy your mistakes.
Well, he also unloaded his $12 million third baseman, though, who was somewhat productive. But yes, I agree with you. I like this trade he made.
And it doesn't mean necessarily that now, if he doesn't sign Ohtani or get Soto in a trade, that he's an absolute failure. But the media will say that. And the media will say, look, the payroll's down. You closed your window. As a GM or president, you don't look at things the way the media or the fans do. You're really looking at your team and saying, we made the playoffs 2 years ago. We did not have the level of improvement we thought we'd have with the players we acquired. Therefore, we're going to start with different players. That is totally normal for an executive to do.
You know, back to these suites. I'm seeing Tampa has Glasnow out there and Arozarena. Some teams have interest in him. Does the Rays suite just stay empty because GMs are afraid to go into that suite?
The Rays are interesting, actually. They are playing chess while the rest of us are playing checkers. There's some teams who don't take meetings at all because it's just not necessary, where they get deals done in other ways. Some teams don't like walking through the lobby in Nashville or any winter meetings where you have to face the media, and they'd prefer to do deals simply over FaceTime or simply over text. But the Rays, what they do I have a pretty simple rule that I tried not to violate, which is don't do trades with the Rays because we were just going to lose those trades.
Hey, what'd you think of what the Brewers did with Chourio? We talked about it. There's been like 7 of these type deals. Most of the players actually have not panned out. A couple of them have been really good. He's the best or second best prospect in the sport. He's 19 years old, hasn't played a day in the majors yet. I think he's played 6 days above AA. 8 years, $82 million, could be 10 for 140 and change.
I traded for 2 of the top 5 prospects in baseball, and they both ended up as longtime big leaguers, but they never became stars. And it haunts me as the worst trade I ever made, the Miguel Cabrera trade. But I got 2 of the top 5 prospects. So I don't want to hear that he's one of the top 2 prospects. He hasn't played a day in the big leagues, not even a day. And you say some of the 7 have worked out. I say, which one? Are you referring to Robert from the White Sox? Or are you referring to Jimenez? You can't be referring to Singleton.
Or Kingery. No,
Kingery.
Right. I thought a couple of them have been okay.
No, but I'm calling your bluff here. You called a couple of them. I can't come up with any of them who have actually gotten paid less than they would have gotten paid in arbitration. That's what makes it a good deal. If you sign somebody and lock in an arbitration number that turns out to be less than they would have made in the program as a regular guy, then you've made a good deal. And the media misrepresents this. Chirino is going to be with the Brewers for 8 years now. Well, every young player has a 6-year contract with their team. You just don't know what you're paying. You have the rights to that player for 6 years. If you sign a player to a 6-year deal before he's made the big leagues, you haven't gotten any extra years with him. You've only guaranteed the amount of money he gets. Why the Brewers would do that? Because they want to be smart. They feel as though they'll be the one to hit it right, and it'll be a Brave situation, maybe with Acuna, where it's such a good deal. One little injury, and he misses time before arbitration, and they're overpaying him. I'm a little worked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Should we bring up Florida State and college football playoff? I mean, my goodness, we got about a minute and a half, by the way.
Well, that's plenty of time to cover that. I wasn't worked up, and here's why. I'll sum up my Nothing Personal episode yesterday. Did anybody who's a Seminole fan actually think that the SEC champion would not be in the Final Four? Was anyone actually thinking that? The whole end of my show says it's just business. This is nothing personal. That is the exact line that should have been or would be said to the Seminoles were I to be in front of people like Danny Cannell or any of the other people who are calling out for the end of the world. Rick Scott in Florida. We're going to figure out legislation. This is an outrage. We're going to investigate. What a bunch of morons. What are you investigating? The fact that the SEC draws more, that the ESPN has the championship and SEC going forward, and that having SEC as part of it is normal, natural, and required. Yeah, that's a real investigation necessary there.
Sounds like they were putting together a television show, David. We've been saying that for a while.
We're all putting together a television show every day, every sport, every reality show. We're just a cast of characters meant to entertain you.
He's David Samson. That's all we love him. Miller and Moulton.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hey y'all, it's Ben Allen. When it comes to singing and performing live shows, I'm in my comfort zone. When it comes to wanting to surprise my wife with diamonds, I'm a bit lost. That's why I go see my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Jason and Todd helped me blow my wife away when we got engaged, and I've been applauding them ever since. If you're in the market for diamonds this holiday season, Southwest Florida has been giving Jason and Todd a standing ovation for over 20 years. Go see them and let Jason and Todd know that Ben Allen sent you.
Thanks, Ben. We're proud of you and your accomplishments and thrilled that you are part of our Diamond District family.
This holiday season, visit Jason and me at the Diamond District. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So almost 1,100 players entered the portal yesterday.
Just another manic Monday.
Yeah, Mike Farrell. As the portal day has slowed down, an updated total of FBS entries is 625. Also, 471 FCS players entered the portal. So 1,096 D1 players entered today. 1,100 players. Jesus.
Yes, Paul, we're all the Truman Show. It's a TV show. Hey, so's the NFL. They're just not letting the networks control the show. The league is saying to the networks, if you pay us enough money, we'll give you the honor of showing our product.
I liked how earlier you could have picked any show and you picked Bonanza.
Well, it was a long-running show.
Yeah, I understood the point. I just got a chuckle out of that.
Well, I'm not going to go 60 Minutes or Dateline. Had a very tense little interlude with my wife this morning. Hold on. So I go out at 5:30 in the morning and she's watching Dateline NBC. I really wanted to like watch happy television before the day. And so I go, well, here's a real toe tapper. Either he steals all the money from the family and leaves them destitute, or he kills her. I go, which one is it this week? She just looks at me and I go, which one is it? And she reluctantly goes, I think he killed her. No, really?
I will say it's why I love my wife. My wife asks me every night, so what's on tonight? What games are we watching?
No doubt. Her stock just keeps going up.
And I wanted to watch Lightning Stars, but I just put on Penguins Flyers.
Yeah, I get some pucks. Yeah.
I got to start bringing my glasses into gymnastics because it is very hard to watch hockey on your phone without glasses, David. But I was watching the Lightning at the gymnastics practice. I'm that guy.
Yeah, what is Dunder Mifflin again?
That's The Office.
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
Of course.
It's funny. I should have watched that show because of my connection to Scranton, but I never really did.
Well, apparently it was filmed in Illinois. Anyways, it's
Oh well, yeah. No, it just had exteriors from Scranton, right?
Hilarious show. I mean, I think it's a touch overrated because everyone thinks it's great, but I think it is very good.
I will say, from what I've seen, it was better with Steve Carell than without.
Much better. Much better.
Yeah.
He built that show.
He's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You don't see that DET on the hat, the Red Wing hat, Paul? Come on. The winged wheel? Let's go. Come on.
A little bit subtle today, but it's there.
Subtle for you.
I got to go back to the post office today again. Mail more boxes, David.
Oh, my good. 2 days in a row?
I tried to get her to have everything ready, so I only had to make one trip.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here comes the lightning bolt.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. And David Samson was on a roll this morning.
Fired up.
Yeah. Well, when we throw it in underhanded for that first question, he starts telling the old winter meeting stories that he had never told before. It's like, oh, here we go. Okay. And then just chastising those of us like me who actually thought Florida State was going to make the playoff. And he just simply said, like the SEC champion wasn't going to be in this thing. Are you a moron? Oh, I guess I'm a moron. That's me. Mark, not only that, he had the audacity to say that it's all a TV show. What the heck?
Never heard that before.
No, and that's another thing. I know you've got merch and we don't. Stop taking our material. That was ours first. At least that's our story.
All right. I'm going to work on merch. I may even start working on it today. You've guilted me into this. Because you want merch.
I actually
No, don't say I don't.
No, here's why I don't. You know why deep down I don't?
Because no one will buy it.
Right, exactly. I'm afraid
That's why I don't want it, because
Right.
no one will buy it.
we're going to put all this time and effort into it, okay? And we're going to get sponsors on the sleeve, and people are going
No,
to
we're
wear
not.
it.
We're not going to put one sponsor on the sleeve. The hell we are. I'm not selling that. I'll sell everything. No.
Okay, no sponsor on the sleeve. Okay, if you want to be a sponsor on the sleeve, tough. Okay, no sponsors on the sleeve. But you know what's going to happen? That's going to be sales. 7.
Right.
That's my fear. I wake up in a cold sweat at 3:00 every morning. How many shirts did you sell? 7.
9.
Let me ask you
Right.
this: what do you think would be the best seller? Would it be a polo or
Best
just a
seller?
t-shirt?
What? With 3 coffee mugs?
What would people want the most of?
No, Trent, that's where you got it wrong. What we're talking about is the entire merchandise store, shirts, hats, polos.
Yeah,
There would be
everything.
7
Right.
things
7
sold.
total sales.
7. Right. This is going back quite a way. Neil Rogers, maybe, I don't know if anybody's ever been a more talented talk show host than Neil Rogers. He may not have been your cup of tea. He did middays, afternoons in Miami. He had a legendary 30-year career. He used to make fun of the Beasley stock price, okay, which was 9 or lower. And he would have that drop in that he would play. Hey, how's the stock going? 9.
9.
Okay. And Mark and I remember Neil Rogers, and we have it in our head. We're going to do merchandise. We're going to have shirts. We're going to have hats. We're going to have mugs. How many have we sold?
9.
All right. That's why we go, maybe this isn't a good idea.
And that's the other thing. I don't know if I'd want to wear my own merch. Like, I think that's crossing the line.
Is that like going the Ohio State University? Is that kind of like, look at me?
I'd wear it every day. And then the people in the Twitch chat room won't comment on my Detroit gear. They'll comment on my Miller and Moulton gear.
But I like our logo. Like, I think our logo would look good on a golf shirt. Like,
yes.
It would.
Yes, I agree. I like the colors, the logo. I actually think we did a good job, but I'm with you. What are you wearing? I'm wearing my own shirt.
Right.
Right. It sounds a little obnoxious.
It's beyond obnoxious.
Who are they? And
Me and another guy?
I'm the bottom M. Okay. That's me right here. I'm the bottom M. Mark's walking around going, I'm the top one. I'm
A little highlighter.
Right. I'm the top one. Okay. Puts the little yellow dot next to it. That's me. Right here.
You are
code 'em.
here.
Color code them. Just tweak the logo a little bit.
You know, Dead Struck in our Twitch chat room says, if we wear our own shirts, is that like talking about yourself in the third person?
Yes.
Yeah, but also, who cares?
Well, I don't know. We've made fun of. I mean, we both love LeBron, but every time LeBron goes third person, we're like, "Come on, dude!"
Well, he did it 3 times. I mean,
I know
that was the end right there.
Yeah,
when he was taking his talents to South Beach, when he went third person 3 times in less than 10 seconds.
And it worked out so well for him, he keeps doing it. But well, I don't know. We've got like 4 people in the Twitch chat room going, "Oh, I'd buy."
That's great. That once again, we'd sell 9 items.
No doubt, 9.
The 4 of you, my mom, David's mom, and David's wife,
and apparently Trent. That's the other thing, Trent. Okay, I mean, I don't know if we can afford how much we can afford to give you. We'll give you the first item.
First item,
maybe the second, but you got to pay for something, man.
Use code TV show for 10% off. We can't even do 20.
we can't afford 20% off.
20% off. What are you talking
10%
about?
off.
All right, we do have people. We have joked over the years about certain expressions that we would put on the back of our T-shirt. You know, Miller and Moulton. Are you jerking my bobber? Okay, and so people now in the Twitch chat room are like, "Oh, I'd buy a you jerking my bobber shirt." You know, it's kind of like that store in Southwest Florida. You can't beat our bait. You know, I got to admit, I'd buy that shirt too.
A lot of master bait and tackle shirts out
No doubt.
and around
Bait and tackle.
North
You
America.
can't beat our bait. Mm-hmm.
Can't beat our play of the day, or at least that's how we advertise it today. Trent, what do you have for us?
We'll go right up the road from David Moulton's palatial estate in Jacksonville, Florida.
Wait a minute. Wait, did you sense sarcasm there? Did
No.
Did he just take a shot? Did he take a shot? I spent $67,000 on a renovation. You're taking a shot? Are you serious?
There was no
you
ill
had
will.
the job an hour and a half.
There was no ill will behind that. I was
Really?
simply stating the
Palatial
fact-
estate.
Little
He's
bit.
never seen it.
A little bit.
Well, you got
Unbelievable.
you got to sleep in your own bed last night. I think
In
it's
a palatial estate, apparently.
Award-winning estate.
award-winning. Anyways, Duval County. Jake Browning is dealing for Cincy. Jamar Chase sure helped him out in the third quarter.
Third down and about 1.5 yards. Extra men on the rush. This one floated. Caught by Chase. And he is gone. Touchdown Cincinnati as he takes it into the end zone.
Jamar Chase burns Tyson, don't call me Dan Campbell, for the 76-yarder and breaks the 14-all tie. Bengals, of course, go on to win it in overtime. Bengals still alive at 6-6, but the biggest implication, the Miami Dolphins are the 1 seed, David. Cincinnati covers +10 easily. Trevor Lawrence's injury may have had something to do with that, but the over 41.5 also hits easily. And that's your play of the day. David, by the way, how close are you to Joe when you're in the when he's screaming like that on the call? Like what's the setup like?
Joe, to his right is Troy, to Troy's right is me.
So can you hear him and like you have the headset on? Can you hear his actual voice, or are you far enough?
Well, it's difficult. We're broadcasting from a palatial estate, okay, and the sound doesn't travel, that great. The booth is open, ended, and just air.
Look at this.
But, from my palatial estate and where I was standing in it, yes, I can hear him.
It was not meant to be any sort of shot, and I am hurt that you think it was.
I took it as a shot.
Thank you.
All right.
He's never
But
seen it.
He doesn't know you well enough to know that would be taken as a shot.
Palatial estate. Unbelievable.
Although
I
I
got
can see from
4
Trent's standpoint,
walls.
you work on Monday Night Football. I could see where he could surmise that it's a
Right.
palatial estate.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been in this business 8 minutes. He actually thinks we make money. That's so cute.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'm not calling anybody today, correct?
That's correct.
Cool.
So I got nothing to do today, guys, right?
No, I didn't mean it like
Just want to make sure.
I can't say
I did my segment.
Oh,
I'm done.
That palatial estate is hit home.
I'll tell you. And the sound is just carrying throughout this palatial estate. I'm going to hit my wife with that tonight. What are you complaining about? We
You're
live
in
in a
palatial
palatial estate. She's going to look at me like, what the is your problem?
Definition of palatial: resembling a palace and being spacious and splendid.
Well,
that could be your place. Come on.
It's a condo.
I'm sorry.
No offense. It's a condo.
Yeah, let's go back and read that again slowly. Okay, try that one more time.
Resembling a palace and being spacious and splendid.
A palace. This is in Auburn Hills, number one.
Malice at the palace.
I think, you know what? Okay, music. I think Felipe should bring empanadas at least once a month into the studio.
He and I the other day were arranging a time for him to call in.
Mm-hmm.
Jokingly, of course. I would never go over your guys' go over the top, but he was like, I gotta call in. It's like, yeah, well, maybe in July when we need some filler.
That is a hell of a stat right there, Canada Relief.
Less impressive, but I also saw the stat of Jake Browning has a 300-yard passing game win, and Kenny Pickett has 0. That was another one I saw last night.
That little play with the bootleg where he didn't get blown up was actually a hell. How he knew that guy was coming.
Did you see the hit on DeAndre Swift? It was on Sunday, but
No. I did. Yeah.
Yeah. That was about as big of a legal hit as I've ever seen.
I want to know how the Detroit player that got, and it was roughing the passer in today's rules. I want to know how you stop yourself from doing that, though.
Yeah. Well, especially when a guy is in the air, right? Because if you tackle him when he's in the air, there's no other result.
I mean, I know in today's rules that it is, but I'm just trying to figure out how you teach a guy to tackle to not land on him. David, you got any help with that?
I'm not really listening.
I know, but how do you make and it was in the Detroit game. It was a roughing the passer, and it was the right call based on how they call it today.
Okay.
I'm just asking you, how do you teach tackling to not land on somebody when you tackle them?
Yeah.
And I'm being serious.
No. Apparently on the way down, you're supposed to be rolling off him so that you're not driving him into the ground. You're supposed to be you hit him and you're tackling him, and okay, now you're on your way down, and it's almost like you're supposed to start letting go and rolling because you just can't put your weight on him.
No,
yeah, it's absurd.
It seems physically impossible, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, it's really hard, and once again, the onus is all on the defender. And when you think about some of the quarterbacks they're trying to take down, I mean, if they don't hit them as forcefully as they do, sometimes they can't get him to the ground.
I mean, this hit concussed Carr, and he's going to be out next week. It was a
Right.
violent. You could argue in most games the team would take the penalty to take the quarterback out of the game, but
absolutely they would.
The silver lining, if there is one, is that I think eventually, if you are able to start teaching this in a 10 years when the next wave of football players comes through, maybe it won't be as much of an issue. But I don't know. Let them play.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen anymore. And even with all the rules, look how many quarterback injuries we have.
Right.
What are we at now? 50? How many?
Oh, I don't know, but
We'll find out here.
It was 52 weeks ago.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour, Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bengals in overtime. A stunner at 10-point dogs. Jake Browning. I don't know about outplaying Trevor Lawrence, but he outlasted him. I mean, Trevor was actually very good, completed about 75% of his passes. Jake Browning was amazing. He had like 5 incompletions the whole night. Bengals had like 500 yards of offense. Cincinnati keeps their season alive. They're 6-6, a game out of the playoffs. And now the Jags suddenly are just a game ahead of the Texans and the Colts. And they may be without Trevor Lawrence for a long time. We'll find out later today. A right ankle injury, had to be helped off the field and into the locker room. I mean, it certainly doesn't look like, even if it's just a sprained ankle, he's going to play this week when they go to Cleveland. But, Mark, this could be the definition of irony. So let's take a look at the AFC right now. And remember, heading into the season, the big question marks were 2 quarterbacks, and could they ever stay healthy for their respective teams? One of them was Tua for the Miami Dolphins.
Right.
How's that working out so far?
So far, so good.
In fact, we put the over-under at what, 13.5?
We did.
And I went over, and knock on wood, unless he gets hurt in practice this week, he's going to start at least 13 games. And the last 2 years, the Ravens were really good. And then their quarterback got hurt. Mark, at this point of the season, the Ravens are really good. And guess who's not hurt? Lamar. Yeah. I mean, going forward, knock on wood, 2 teams and 2 quarterbacks, we talk about it all the time. Sometimes you just need a little bit of good fortune, and injuries in football are part of that good fortune, a big part. So far, Tua, Lamar, Mahomes. Think there's a connection? Now, there's also that guy in Buffalo, which is why I think a lot of us are like, don't know if we can dismiss them yet.
Well, it's interesting, David, because you and I we did something we don't do very often. And by very often, once every 6 months, we talked during the day yesterday.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is not lying. That is an ever so slight exaggeration. Instead of 2 times a year, it might be 4.
Quarterly. I think we have a quarterly phone meeting.
We do. We just update our stock. Hey, how you doing? I'm good. How you doing?
But Buffalo's not getting in as a 9-8 team. I find it to be damn near impossible for Buffalo's 9-8 to have the right math to get them in, conference record, etc. They just don't have it. It's not worked well for Buffalo with where their losses have been.
Right. Their tiebreakers are awful. We think that Buffalo, the only way they will get in is say they get to 10 and there's only 7 teams who have 10 or more. If there's 8, we think Buffalo is going to be left out.
But I don't think there will be 8. I don't have enough faith in the Pittsburghs and the Clevelands and the Indianapolises of the world that there's going to be all of these teams at 10. I think 10 gets you in the AFC, period, end of sentence.
Okay.
That means they have to go 4-1 the rest of the way to get to 10.
Correct, Mark. You always were sharp at math. And when you look at their schedule, it's not the easiest one to go 4-1 against. I mean, don't they have a little ditty this week in Kansas City?
And how are the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes after they lose a game?
Well, I don't know how many times they've lost the next week. And we're talking like in the last 6 years.
Right.
And they have a game, I believe, against the Cowboys, even though they host it. Still, I mean, that's one of the, I mean, come on, right now, 6 best teams in the league.
Absolutely. The way
Yeah.
they're playing right now.
Yeah. And they also end the season at Miami. And you got to figure something's going to be on the line for the Dolphins. The Dolphins hope it's not for the East. They're hoping it's for seeding. But you got to figure something's going to be on the line for Miami week 18 at home against Buffalo. And at some point, they got to start beating those guys.
David, at worst, it's going to be for a 2 seed for the Dolphins. It could possibly be for a 1.
And there's a big difference, obviously, a 2 versus a 3. I mean, let's just say Baltimore beats Miami in Baltimore, and Baltimore's going to be the 1. But Miami's trying to stay ahead of Kansas City, especially since they lost to them head-to-head. So they need to, win and hopefully finish a game ahead of Kansas City. So they're the 2, the Chiefs are the 3. And then in theory, if they can meet in the second round, well, they meet at their place. Plus also, what could Miami be doing by winning that last game? They could be making sure Buffalo, even if the committee wants to, Mark, they can't invite them to the playoffs.
It's not going to get old for me for a
No.
while, David.
Oh, no.
Really
Come on now.
Old for me.
Come on. Between now and New Year's Eve, we got to reference the committee a lot.
Yes.
They were put in an awful spot. They were, but you know what? I'm sorry. Comes with the territory. Comes with the all expenses paid trips to Dallas, the company credit card. You get to be made fun of. You need a new spokesman going forward, by the way. This guy's awful. Just awful. I mean, next time, just pick a Dallas sports talk show host at one of the stations. Hey, you sound pretty good. Why don't you? Here's our vote. Okay, you go make the case. You do this for a living. But I just thought it was worth mentioning. All these quarterbacks, if Pickett's out for the year after the ankle surgery, that's a big if. But if he is, that's 7 starting quarterbacks that are now out for the year, right? Because we had the graphic up during the show yesterday. You can go division by division here. You start with Aaron Rodgers, 4 plays into his season. We can go Kirk Cousins. Listen, even some that are not great. Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. Hey, that counts. Okay, your guy's out. But I believe if Pickett's out for the rest of the season, which is a big if, but they said if they have to go surgery, he's out for the year. That would make 7, and we're going to find out later today the extent of Trevor Lawrence's injury. That's not talking about the guys who have missed considerable time. Kyler Murray missed the first half of the year recovering from an injury. We all know the list. Jalen Hurts is banged up. Purdy has stayed healthy. Dak has stayed healthy. Could that be the difference as to what's going to happen in the NFC going forward? For that matter, knock on wood, Jared Goff has stayed healthy. So is this going to be, is this the NFL's elimination tournament here? The taking out of quarterbacks.
And can your guy just survive the rest of the season? Because the odds are, David, we're going to lose flat out. If you were just to say how many more starting quarterbacks are going to go down between now and the rest of the year, you'd have to say a minimum of 2 based on just what's happened this year. Just the numbers, David. I'm not saying for the rest of the season, but for a game or 2. It seems logical.
And I know right now both Pittsburgh and Cleveland would make the playoffs, but going forward, they're both playing with backup quarterbacks for a while. if not the rest of the year. I mean, think about it. Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Cross our fingers we're not adding Trevor Lawrence to that list. That also has Kenny Pickett, Daniel Jones, and Anthony Richardson. I mean, for goodness sakes, that could be a quarter of the league. Never mind all the others who have missed games because of injury.
Or the guys that were supposed to be starters that they've moved on from, that they've benched, the Tannehills of the world.
But, Justin Fields missed a month. I mean, we can keep going. It's remarkable. And could the AFC and NFC playoffs be like Survivor at the quarterback position?
Not just the quarterback position, because you look at San Francisco, when did they have their 3-game skid?
Yeah, Debo and Trent
Debo's
Williams.
out, Trent Williams is out. Well, they just weren't the same team. Amazing when you lose weapons and a tackle, what that can do to a football team.
Mark, I got to admit, if you watch Debo Samuel on Sunday, he looks like a force. Damn.
When Ayuk's your third weapon, maybe your fourth because of Kittle. I mean,
fourth. I mean, come on. McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo. Ayuk's just like, hey, could you use me more than the fullback? Because everybody says he's the best fullback in the league, too. Could I be number 4? I'm on my own fantasy team. Could you guys use me?
And they start running some of those jumbo formations. They're a tough team to stop. They're physical as all hell.
But could the playoffs literally, like in the AFC right now, you've got Pittsburgh and Cleveland trying to hold on at 7-5. Cleveland's definitely going to have to. I mean, for goodness sakes, they just called the guy basically out of retirement to start games for him, who's nearly 40.
That's why you got to look at Denver and Russ.
And Buffalo and Josh Allen.
Right.
And even though Houston's losing on a tiebreaker right now, but knock on wood, if CJ Stroud can stay healthy, are the Texans going from top 3 draft position last year to the playoffs this year? If that's the case, by the way, you can give him the Coach of the Year award.
All right. Can I just stop you for a second? What if the guy in Indianapolis makes the playoffs too with a backup quarterback? I mean, I think we're discounting the job he's done with the Colts.
It is pretty good. It really is.
Both first-year coaches.
Yep, they've won 4 in a row. Both 7-5. Yep.
Not to mention, if somehow the Detroit Lions end up with a 2 seed, Dan Campbell's going to get strong consideration for the award as well.
Oh, Mike McDaniel, I think, is going to get strong consideration.
How can he not?
But we know how these awards go. Like who won it last year? Dable. It's usually when you take a pile of and you turn it into something, they go, oh, well, that's who we give the Coach of the Year.
Well, doesn't that have to be Dan Campbell then?
What's that?
Doesn't that have to be Dan Campbell then?
No, because they came on so strong last year,
right?
That this was expected of them. That's why Houston's going to have the edge.
But just meeting, and again, I'm biased, of course.
No,
but
kidding.
just meeting expectations in
No.
Detroit,
No.
winning the division for the first time since it's been this.
Like, how many no's do we have to tell you?
They won
behind the guy in Houston.
They won 8 of they won 8 of their last 10 last year. They were put in the very first game of the year because the league thought they were going to be good.
They went out and somehow end up with the 1 seed. He's got a shot.
Yeah, a 1 seed is a different story. But if they're going to be the 3 seed, no.
Miller and Moulton. Text line wide open at 21,000. As always, taking your comments. You can always join us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton and interact with the several loyal listeners that are there every day, giving us their instant comments of the show.
Just wanted to point out the remarkable injury factor at quarterback so far in this league and where we are with either 4 or 5 games left, depending on how many you've played. And could it simply be who's healthy at that position is going to make the playoffs and who, unfortunately, suffered an injury at that position. Pittsburgh, Cleveland,
Jacksonville.
Are you going to be left out or go from first place in your division to a wild card? So, but how ironic, Tua and Lamar, and I don't even know if either's ended up on an injury report this year so far.
We've said it about Baltimore for the longest time. If he stays healthy, they're obviously a force. We'll talk about that and everything that happened this past week in the NFL with Pat Kirwan. He's next on Miller and Moulton.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, fellas.
Good morning, Pat.
How are you?
I am great. How you doing?
Great. Now we're in double digit. What a nice ride home you had, David.
Yeah, it better than most.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and I said he's gonna feel like a weekend off here. Drive over, drive back.
The best part is that when I take my nap, I'm not going to then have to race to the airport and get home 6 hours later. Instead, I'm going to wake up from my nap and go, huh,
here I am.
Wonder what's on TV.
You don't have time to watch TV.
So, Pat, I dumped my Sirius subscription a while back because I'm just not in the car that much. And I'm waiting for them to give me one of those deals where I get it back. But they had the free weekend. I get all excited. I get in the car to go. I drop my daughter off at gymnastics. I'm like, oh crap, I can listen to Pat at 6:30, and that damn Jim Gray thing's on yesterday or whatever. I'm like, I'll be.
I know, but for me, it's great. I get out on
Cutting out early
Mondays.
again, Pat. Cutting out early again.
Hey, you know, it's funny. If you mention the name Tom Brady, they usually say, get the hell out of the building. You know, no one listens to that, by the way. I just kind of like, they spend a ton of money on a show no one's listening to. But the media takes quotes from it. That's what it's good for. And Sirius loves that.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, no one listens to, I mean, I know it's 3:30 Pacific, but no one's listening to the radio at 6:30 Eastern.
No.
You're
And
home.
we have callers complaining, can't they put them on at 7? I said, it's really the only night we have a little time off. So it's, and with Monday Night Football, it's kind of nice to get a little head start.
Yep.
Actually go get something to eat before the game starts. But anyway, it's what it is. But they like seeing Tom Brady on Sirius yesterday said that's their whole thing.
Absolutely. That's pretty strong, though. I mean, I don't, you know.
Yeah. I'm surprised he's still doing it.
I'll be curious if what his deal is with Fox, if Fox will be okay with him doing it next year.
I don't think they're going to stop Tom Brady from doing anything he wants.
Probably not.
Adam Schefter has no stoppages. He can come on our show. Other guys at ESPN can't come on our show. Adam can. Adam just said, I do other stuff. And I go on Sirius with Pat and those guys. Oh, okay. There'll be no restrictions on Tom.
It's funny. You would like to think 350 million, they could actually say, hey, don't go on that show. But that's not how it works.
No, because there's no other guy they can give 350 to.
Yep.
Anyway, those backup quarterbacks, man. Last night, some of these quarterbacks get twisted around. Like that whole Trevor Lawrence, the way his body was.
Oh, that was.
He could have had 5 major injuries on his lower half there.
I was worried it was a knee.
Me too. So.
At first, I was worried it was an Achilles when I didn't see the guy step on him. Like, did he just go down?
Yeah.
I thought he slipped at first and then went, he got stepped on.
Yeah.
And if you watch Pacheco the day before, I don't know how he dodged the bullet twice. His body got twisted around and he flipped his leg over so it wouldn't keep going in the wrong direction. It was amazing what he did. But he was going down for the count with a major knee and he got out of it. He lucked out of it. Smart. I don't know. Did Jake Browning just get himself a contract with somebody? You know how that goes.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network on this first Tuesday of December. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits for those in the 239. We are Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. And Pat Kirwan joins us during the season on Tuesdays and Fridays, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Pat moving the chains, weekdays 3 to 7, Saturdays 2 to 5 on NFL Radio. And then Sundays, he helped produces the NFL Today. How you holding up? It's December. How are your injuries? You're our quarterback. How you holding up?
I'm fine. You know, it's football season. You just keep grinding away. And every weekend there's a game or two that gets you so darn excited. You're happy you're working in the National Football League or at least talking about it.
What are you more concerned with, Pat? The quarterback injuries or the refereeing right now?
Boy, that's a hard choice because they're both awful. Since the game is the most important part of it, the quarterbacks, I know why you asked, because the refereeing, here's what I will say. Maybe it is the refereeing, and I'll tell you why, Mark. So many of the quarterbacks are in their 20s, and they're going to get better again, and they're going to be back. Go look at the top 10 quarterbacks. I think there's only 2 that are in their 30s. Everyone else is young, and, you know, they're going to be around. The refereeing is only getting worse. I look at the quarterbacks, and the draft is coming up. There's going to be an injection of more good players. So I think it's the refereeing. And maybe my biggest frustration is that we're doing nothing about fixing it, because the numbers of people watching are so good that the league's not going to be motivated. And they still believe the guy with the white hat is in charge. And they won't go to a sky judge. They won't do anything. So it's bad, and it's getting worse. I did spend some significant time with a retired official the other day. He was so furious about what this game looks like now. And I said, I need to talk to you like a hole in the head because I feel like you. So by the end of our conversation, we were both furious. So, yeah, I'll go with the officiating because that affects the whole thing, and it's not getting better.
Well, morale amongst the officials is awful. A whole
Yep.
bunch of the veteran referees and officials have retired in the last 3 to 5 years. So there's a whole crew of guys that they are literally training on the job who in years past would not have been on that job yet at this time. But Pat, I'm not making an excuse, but don't you have to acknowledge the play is pretty sloppy? The offensive line play, maybe there was this much holding all the time, but there seems to be a lot of it that's out in the open. It does seem as if damn near every DB is playing the way Belichick taught it 20 years ago, which is, just keep committing a foul. They'll eventually stop calling them. All right. I mean, it does seem as if fundamental football is not as good.
Well, that's true to a sense, but they're getting ready for the playoffs, and they know in the playoffs no one's going to call all those penalties. We've been documenting that for years on this show. As soon as you get to the playoffs, the penalties are going to go down by 50% because then they're afraid to be the center of attention. Right now, and by the way, let's start with the recruitment of officials. I agree with you. A lot of guys are walking away. They have low morale, to your point, and they don't trust the league office.
No.
They've got their back, so they're walking. But they're not even recruiting officials from the Southeast Conference in the Big Ten. They can't get those guys. They used to be able to get anyone they wanted. Now they're taking MAC guys. And as one official said to me, he goes, now I got a guy on the field. The last time he did a game, he did 10,000 people in the stands. He comes out, he looks up, and he's in awe. It's too big for some of these guys. And the rule book is a disaster. And as we've said 1,000 times, point of emphasis, that means I don't trust you to call the game the way it's supposed to be called. So you just do what I tell you. And if you think this is happening, do it. So no, the officiating is horrible. The inconsistencies are horrible. And it is affecting games to the point of what appears to many fans to be, I hate to say it, not straight up and good. So the gamblers don't believe that the product is true.
Well, one thing that was true was San Francisco's beatdown of the Eagles.
Yeah.
What do you do about a healthy 49er team? How, we can talk about what they did positive, but when you look at them and try to stop them, Pat, what's the method to try to slow this team down at all when they're healthy?
Well, let's use Howie, the GM over in Philadelphia, to answer your question. What does Howie always do when he sees he's not ready to win a Super Bowl? He goes and gets more players. Whether you like them or not, he just took Shaq Leonard. Is he going to get Zach Ertz next? And is he going to call Sue up?
Well, that's the guy right there. After what just took place on Sunday, whatever they've been offering Sue has got to go up.
Yeah, and it will. Howie's got a reputation for that. He's not going to sit there. Here's what he knows after that game. This roster can't beat their roster. He knows that now. He was hoping it wasn't true, but he knows it's true, to Mark's point. So he's going to fortify his roster. It's kind of hard to do without a trading opportunity, but he's done it before. So he'll do it again. And that may not be enough to get to, because your real question is how good are the 49ers? The hybrid players, where I thought they might have liability was in their protection and their blocking, but it's good enough for what they do. Prior to that, if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I said, I'm not so sure that the 49ers offensive line is going to be good enough to win a world championship. They probably are now because he's got so many ways to hand the ball to different players. And he does have an offense that's designed for each player. So when he wants McCaffrey to be the feature player, he has schemes and play calls for that. When he wants Debo to beat you, Debo beats you. When he wants Kittle to beat you, Kittle beats you. And I can keep going here. Ayuk and even Juszczyk. So he's got a million ways to get you, and he waits to see where you're up having a problem, and he just takes care of you.
Well, and he totally took advantage of the linebacking core of the Eagles. He just kept attacking that short middle, and they've got nothing. And that's why they absolutely had to sign
Well,
Leonard.
Let me, Leonard, as I said last week, he played 455 plays this year, excuse me, before he got released. So he's okay. Go watch him play, and he's not going to make mistakes. He's going to be in front of where he's supposed to be. He's going to hold off the gap he has, but he's not dynamic right now. He cannot make plays in space, and I think they got frustrated with that. So they might be stuck with a linebacker group that's not good enough. But here's my question to you guys. Now that you say this about Philly, and I've said the same thing, is Dallas going to beat him and take over the division?
Well, I'm curious from a tiebreaker standpoint. Let's assume Dallas gets him. They'll be tied with division record, and they'll be tied in overall record. But who then has the next tiebreaker, if you know what I mean? Because this is Philly's 5-game hard stretch. They're 2-1. Say if they go to Seattle though and win, they've got 3 laydowns. They got 2 against the Giants, and they should be able to beat Arizona. So, Pat, they can still post 14-3, if you know what I mean. It won't be better than San Francisco's 14-3, but will it win the East?
That's my question to you guys. I when I look at Dallas, I see a team that for the first time could do it. They could pass them, but we'll see. But I didn't think Dallas had a chance to be anything but the wild card. But now I see it a little different than that.
I think that schedule the rest of the way for Dallas is pretty difficult. A lot of games, Buffalo, Detroit, Miami still on there for Dallas. So I think Philadelphia wins the division because I don't see Dallas running the table.
Yeah, probably not.
So what are we to make of Jake Browning's performance 1 week after looking as if he's just not up to quarterbacking in the NFL? 32 of 37, 354 yards. I mean, he credited his coach with using him differently than the week before, but he also said, when you've been around a little bit, and I have, you begin to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And I just tried to focus this week on what I know I'm good at. I mean, it was a remarkable performance, Pat.
Tremendous. But the second half of your question is, did it tell us something about Jacksonville's defense? That Jake Browning did that to them. Let's say Jacksonville's defense is good. Jacksonville, we said it. The three of us have said it for the last month or so. They're pretty good at defense. Did Browning expose a defense that's not that good?
Well, there was only one guy last night who looked as if he was up to playing against the Bengals, and that was Josh Allen. I mean, none of the other 10 guys made plays.
Yeah. They play like that in the playoffs. You think they'll last more than one game?
No, Pat, but and that's where I come back in the AFC to the Dolphins because their defense continues to get better. And that offense, I worry about their line, but Pat, defensively, everybody keeps focusing on the Dolphins offense. It's the Dolphins defense that's been playing lights out for the last 5 weeks. I know the competition hasn't been great, but they're figuring things out on that side of the ball.
Well, when you get Ramsey back on the field, it changes your play calls. You now know that you have an extra defender, whether he's a blitzer or double somebody else. But Ramsey, the ripple effect of him on the field is multiple things that can be different. You have an extra pass rusher. You have an extra guy to cover a receiver. You have anything you want. You can play disguise coverages. You can play lurk coverages. You can do all this stuff because of that one guy that's over there. And let's go historic here for a second. When Deion Sanders was in his prime, whatever team he went to, he immediately changed their ability to do whatever they wanted because you just take care of that guy. We got the rest of it, and it changes everyone's defensive play calling. And I think that's what Ramsey's doing for them.
7 of their last 8 opponents, the Dolphins have held under 300 yards of offense. And now, granted, most of them have been teams below 500, but some of them have acted like the Chiefs. Chiefs didn't get 300 yards of offense in beating them. They were held to like 40 yards in the whole second half. So,
yeah, my answer to the Dolphins has not changed all year. And that is you find someone on their schedule that can rush the passer because that's their Achilles heel. sacking Tua is why they lose. No other reason. You look at every common denominator of their losses for 2 years, and it's sacking Tua.
And there have only been a handful of teams that can do it. And you're right, Pat. And I don't know how they avoid that because their line is banged up. And when they come against the Kansas Cities and the Buffaloes of the world, they've not been able to get it done.
Nope. And they have 2 line injuries again this weekend, right?
Final 3 games of the year. And, granted, the Dolphins still have to play the Jets and they can get after a quarterback. But final 3 games of the year for the Dolphins, Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo, and they can all get after a quarterback. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. More with Pat on the other side here on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, and David, thank you very much for the text messages yesterday. They just cheered me right up.
Well, the first one, I was just trying to give you a little, man on the street perspective as to how people here, it was kind of like when Jim was able to lean into the Lions Monday nighter, let everybody know, hey, if you're not here, people are actually really gung-ho about this game. But I didn't, as I was sending that text, I didn't realize who you were doing the show with. And then came out of break and I'm like, wait, what?
I was talking to Jim at 2:55. And at 2:57, it started to go in and out. And at 2:58, basically, he lost his internet. He was in his hotel by Chicago. He was doing an autograph signing thing today. And he said, let me go up there and do the show. And he had been in his hotel before doing shows. And he went in and the internet completely went out. And we thought it'd be 10. I said, I'll just take it till they get it back on. And he said, it's not coming back on. Or the hotel told him there's some major problem. I don't know, someone hit a pole or something. Who knows? But Vic happened to be on a call. And they said, turn on your box and take over. We'll help Pat until we get Jim. And Jim never came back. Kind of, it could happen to any one of us, really.
I know. I felt very badly for you. No big deal. It's only a Monday in the guts of the season.
Yeah. Well, let me just say, there's days I get off and I'm tired, and there's days I get off and I'm exhausted. Yesterday was round 2.
Blades at home this week, Pat?
What, Mark?
Blades at home this week?
Yeah, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
All right.
I think they're playing. I think it's Atlanta.
Are they allowed to play anybody but Orlando? Or
Yeah, well, I see an awful lot. You know what I love about them playing those guys? Everyone doesn't like them because it's too much. I love it because they hate each other, and there's always great fights.
Mm-hmm.
They just, when you play someone that many times. I will say this, are we going to see? We got 52 started quarterbacks so far. Trubisky will be 53. Winston will be 54. Beathard will be 55. And Trevor Siemian might make 56. We're moving right along here.
where's Simeon?
Jets.
Oh yeah, that's
They
right.
benched Boyle. So, we're moving right along towards the big goal, 68 or so.
By the way, if they bench Boyle and they don't go back to Zach Wilson.
Well, did you see that he doesn't?
Zach
Allegedly.
Yeah.
You know what I said? Well, I got asked that question yesterday. Hey, it sounds like Wilson doesn't want to play. I said, well, first off, he stinks, so I hope he says he won't play so I can take his salary away from him. It'd be feel a lot better if I didn't pay him because he refused to go on the field.
But to me, it would be. I don't know how Joe Douglas could defend keeping his job if they're benching Tim Boyle and not going back to Zach Wilson. Because remember, he had a chance to not have Zach Wilson be his quarterback this year. He had 6 weeks where he could have replaced Zach Wilson. And they would have made the playoffs if he had gotten,
Joe Flacco?
Yeah, well, or Josh Dobbs even. I mean, with that defense, and instead he's like, no, Robert, you have to keep playing Zach Wilson. Well, I think Joe Douglas needs to pay the price for this year. I really do.
He might be paying it. The cameramen at CBS were, they're all heavy gamblers.
Right.
They were going nuts on the first drive by Flacco when he went 4 or 6 on a touchdown.
Yep.
They went crazy.
Yep. I laughed my blank off. Hadn't played in a year, was sitting on his couch a week ago, right down the field, touchdown. Laughed.
Yeah. He can still throw a beautiful football, too.
I mean, he's a statue, but you know what? You could be a statue and win games with the Jets.
Yep. There's a couple teams that have to ask themselves, why didn't we sign Flacco? And you start looking at some of the bad backups.
Here we go.
All righty.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan from NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today Show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. All right, 2 weeks ago, the number was 50 starting quarterbacks in this league. What's it now, and what's it going to be after this week?
Well, it's 52 at the moment, and 53 will be Trubisky in Pittsburgh. 54 will be Winston in New Orleans. 55 will be Beathard in Jacksonville, and potentially 56 will be Simeon at the Jets. So we're moving right along. Remember, we had 68 guys start games last year. Now, how many guys have thrown passes in the NFL? We're already at 68. Have at least gone on the field and thrown a pass. So, man, if you don't pay attention to these kind of things like we didn't last year, you land up with a disgraceful backup situation and you can't win a game. Like, do you think Beathard's going to win a game? No.
Listen, compared to some of the backup quarterback play, he looked okay.
Yeah. Let me make this point about backup quarterbacks. I'm sure you guys have covered it. If you look at the AFC playoffs right now,
yes,
all three wild card teams are using backup quarterbacks plus a starting team, Jacksonville, in the front four. So you've got 4 teams that are qualifiers right now that are trying to hold their spots, and they're using backup quarterbacks. So the vulnerability there, which leads you to ask, is the NFC, unbelievable question, have they taken over the AFC for the best conference just by the attrition of quarterbacks?
It's really close, Pat. And what we were talking about now is what 6-6 teams are dangerous. It still seems that Buffalo's got to win 4 games to get in the playoffs. I don't know if they can with their schedule. Denver's gotten better with Russ. It looks like one of these teams in the South could get in as a wild card. But, Pat, who are you banking on not only just getting in as a wild card that maybe could do a little damage if they got in?
Houston. We've been kind of hinting at them for a while. They're 7-5, right? So they're past the 6-6 world. They've got the Jets this week. So they're going to 8-5. The 3 teams ahead of them, Cleveland, Indy, and Pittsburgh, are all trying to win with backup quarterbacks. And we just saw Pittsburgh lose to Arizona. Now they get New England, so that's going to be a win for them. Indianapolis, Minshew, he's played so long, you might as well say but he is a backup, for God's sake. He really should not be the starter, but he's playing pretty well. They've got Cincinnati. Now, you tell me, David was at the game. Not only did the Browning play well, the defense, I thought, played real well. They were hitting the living daylights out of Jacksonville. So, I think Houston's the team that I would think that they got strategically a good position. And maybe the Rams, sweeping Seattle doesn't mean anything right now, literally, except that division wins, because they got to get over these other guys. Green Bay, the quarterback, I tell you, that's another storyline. I apologize to Mr. Love. He looked real. And that's 2 weeks in a row.
Well, it's 3 weeks even. You can go. He's 8 TDs, no interceptions his last 3 games during this 3-game winning streak. And, 3.5 years into the league, he didn't play but 1 game the first 3 years, but he's been in the league now. This is year 4. And it certainly looks, Pat, the game's starting to slow down for him. He looks comfortable.
He does. And, he's really mimicked Aaron Rodgers' throwing motion. Phil Simms and I spend a lot of time on that. Go watch how he's throwing. He learned a lot from Rodgers on having multiple release points, and he uses them, and he's done a very nice job. So, to answer Mark's question, to me, Houston's the one on the outside looking in that's going to get in. I don't know how 3 teams in the wild cards are going to hold down their spots with backup quarterbacks.
Technically, Houston is the 8 seed that's out right now at 7-5 in the AFC. Green Bay is technically the 7 seed right now at 6-6. 3 playoff teams from the AFC North and the NFC North right now. But 4 of those teams are trying to hold their playoff positioning with backup quarterbacks. Hell, Minnesota may start their 4th different quarterback this week. I don't know if they've announced who their starters are going to be.
Fran Tarkenton hasn't returned the call yet, but he'll get him.
Or Tommy Kramer. And it makes us wonder, Mark a couple weeks ago said, look out for the Rams in Seattle. They have healthy quarterbacks. Could that be the difference between getting in or staying out?
Well, to answer that question, go back to the AFC. The guys on the outside have tremendous quarterbacks, that can throw touchdown passes. And Josh Allen, I think the 3 of us, I'm just guessing here, have kind of thought Buffalo's done. They have Kansas City this week.
Well, Pat, you brought it up. They don't lose 2 games in a row. I mean, if Kansas City loses again this week, then Buffalo's in it. But their record and Mahomes' record coming off a loss. He doesn't lose 2 in a row.
No, and they gravitated to the place we all wanted him to go to, which is more run game. Pacheco's a darn weapon, and they're using him a lot more. It's interesting about Kelsey, because I kind of watched him as closely as I could. He used to run this one route that he separated every time. It was kind of like an inside route, and boom, he'd separate. They did play him double a lot, which I'm so used to a bracket coverage on him. I did not see it all the time. I'm wondering if people are starting to say, he's going to catch a couple, but he's not going to kill us.
It was interesting Sunday because he was targeted only 5 times, but he had 4 catches for 81 yards. Obviously 20 yards a catch. That's pretty impressive. But like you said, he's 34. And for the first time, you're like, you know what? He looks 34. He's still really good. It's like Tony Gonzalez the last 2-3 years of his career, Pat. Tony Gonzalez could still get open, make catches, and what have you. But he wasn't. Tony Gonzalez is going to run the streak down the middle of the field, and we don't have anybody who can run with him.
Yeah, and it's not over for him. He's still a very good player in Kelsey. Right. But I spent a lot of time with Tony after his career ended because he came to CBS. And I was with him. He sat next to me in the meeting. So we talked about this stuff all the time. And he acknowledged it. I think he realized where it wasn't anymore. And I'm not saying Kelsey's done. That's not, but I'm starting, if this happens to other players, I just started counting how much single coverage. Because the defense will tell you how they feel about it. And there was a time when you get in a red zone, he had doubles every time. They'd ignore Tyreek in a sense in the red zone because there was no speed element down there. But it just looks a little different to me right now. And it also, I think this is where the sacks are coming from. It looks like Patrick is waiting for him to get open. So when you look at the sacks, go back and look at the play and say, why was he sacked? Yeah, okay, the tackles are terrible. We know that. But a lot of times it looks to me like he's waiting for Kelsey.
Yeah, you know why? Because he's given the other guys 2/3 of a season, and none of them can get open. So, of course, he's waiting for Kelsey.
Yeah, and then he's on the ground waiting for Kelsey to pick him up.
No. Of the good teams, Pat, and we got about a minute and a half. Of the good teams, what defense do you trust the most?
Baltimore, and mainly because they have 14 different guys, I think, with sacks. So that tells you they have scheme players. They've got a real knack for getting free players, and they come after you. There's a lot of tradition there with defense, so I do like their defense. Don't trust Philadelphia. I still don't trust Miami, but better, but not great. I like Kansas City's defense. They got so many injuries right now. The linebacker group, I don't know who they're going to play. It looked like they had some strong safeties playing backer in the middle of that game. So there's a problem area. I like Baltimore when you look at all these. And Detroit, to me, could be, but Anzalone, he's a little bit like Milano. If you have him, you got flexibility. When you don't have him, you don't have that quarterback of the front seven.
Yeah, I think Detroit is now looking back on, we should have taken that big fella.
Damn right.
Georgia. The running back is nice. He's talented and what have you, but we could find one of them. You can't find those big fellas. As great as that draft was, Pat, they're probably looking back thinking, we might want to have that first pick over again. Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. He'll join us again on Friday, courtesy of Pinchers. Pat, be well. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, fellas. Be good. See you on Friday.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Michigan, that was the Big Ten, not a playoff committee. But yes, Michigan, the Big Ten, and Michigan State's AD was a little vindictive. Is the reason behind it. Was it Denny Franklin? Was that the quarterback that got hurt for Michigan?
Okay, so for what it's worth, which is nothing because we're only 3/4 of the way through the season, do you know what the odds are for Coach of the Year? I'm just curious. Like, have you looked at it? Have you seen it?
DeMarco Ryans would be one.
Dan Campbell's one.
Oh,
plus 160. Ryans is close mine at plus 210.
Okay, I'd put my money on Ryans right now.
Well, I think the only reason he's not the favorite is because they're not in the playoffs right now. You know what I mean? Like if this is the kind of award that I feel like will shift based on.
And that was a Big Ten decision because they wanted the best representative in the Rose Bowl. I mean, I guess it's similar, but to me, it's little apples and oranges. Michigan go blue. But roll Tide. And I mean roll effing Tide.
Oh, isn't it so perfect that it's going to be Nick Saban who saves us all from the Michigan cheater championship thing?
I'm telling you, if I'm a Michigan fan, this is perfect. Because if you beat Alabama and or Texas/Washington, but especially if it's Alabama, Texas, you'll have beaten Ohio State, Alabama, and Texas to end the season. The whole cheating thing will just be a nice footnote. It's so funny you say that, E.B. Hill. There's tuna mac in the fridge. I'll bet you there's tuna mac on the show tomorrow.
Okay, David, we're having a good show. We're having a good week.
Hump Day Tuna Mac.
Oh, come on, guys.
You know what, David? To your point about Michigan, I agree with you, but you're a very well-educated, level-headed human being. You are rational. Michigan fans don't think that way. Did you see the video of their reaction when Alabama got the 4? There was a video of the war room.
No, I'm not talking about Michigan fans. I'm talking about the country. Okay, if Michigan had gotten Florida State with a wounded quarterback who gets in the game and can't perform, and then people would have been like, "Man, Michigan caught every break. They cheated." Okay, they ended up with Florida State instead of Alabama. Okay, this is good for Michigan if they're going to win the title. The country, not in Michigan, but the country will be like, no, it was legit. They may have cheated and benefited from it in 21 and 22, but that was a legit title. They beat Ohio State, Alabama, and Texas. No, it's legit.
Yeah, I hear you. What are you crying about?
Oh, I could have had a shot with. I guess I had enough wins to win the pool this week, but I had the wrong points.
How'd you do in fantasy?
I won.
Oh, that's right. We talked about this
yesterday.
Yesterday. Yeah.
I've won 5 in a row.
By the way, who was that pointed out the Dennis Franklin 73 Michigan team? Remember, that was breaking a tie. Ohio State, Michigan tied. And so the Big Ten people voted Ohio State because Franklin was hurt. Florida State finished ahead of Texas and Alabama. There wasn't a tie here.
You take the Houston defense in fantasy, they're playing the Jets.
Yes.
Yes.
What are your other options?
I have Cleveland.
And they're playing who?
Jacksonville.
Ooh, after getting embarrassed, too, by the
Right.
Rams. I would actually.
Come on. They're playing the Jets. Do we have to go through the offensive numbers of the Jets? How can you not take the defense playing the Jets?
Yeah, I gotta try that. Although I could play the Packers too. They're playing the Giants.
Come on, Mark. going up against the legendary Tommy DeVito.
Off a bye, too.
Those are three really good options. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 until the top of the hour. That's when the Diamond District bonus hour comes into play. It's our last segment along the network. Thanks so much for being with us. First Tuesday in December, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Man, you got to love sports. You think you know what's going to happen? We don't know squat. How about the Bengals with a backup quarterback? Jake Browning looking like, I don't know, Joe Burrow? All right, I should take it easy.
Well, not really.
5
think you have to take it
incompletions,
easy.
though. I mean, my goodness, he completed like 7% of his passes. It was amazing. Bengals,
It really
10-point
was.
dogs on the road. Outright
He
win
threw
in
for
overtime.
354 yards last night.
Yeah. 354. Jacksonville loses. Key loss. Now the AFC South's back in play. Now they've got the division record right now over both the Colts and the Texans. You know, they swept the Colts. They split with the Texans. And they've already beaten the Titans once. So, you know, Jacksonville's right now, it looks like the Jags have the tiebreaker. But it also looks like they may be playing C.J. Beathard. So, yeah. And at Cleveland, followed by Baltimore, right?
I believe you're right. The Jags schedule looked like something they could take care of. Yeah, Browns at the Browns, home for the Ravens. And then the last three against bad teams. At the Bucks, home for the Panthers, at the Titans.
I will say, though, division game on the road to end the season, not a sure thing. And
Nope.
they don't like each other. It's a new phenomenon, but they don't like each other. The Jags took the Titans down last year and told them they were doing it while doing it. And Tennessee has not forgotten. And if you give the Titans the final week of the year of what is a lost season, a chance to knock the Jags out of the playoffs or knock them out of first, believe me, Vrabel's crew will answer the bell. But boy, did things change. The talk heading in, Jags are going to win. First Monday Night Football game in 12 years.
They'll be the 1 seed when we wake up
Right.
on Tuesday morning.
And instead, they're the 4, and Lawrence is hurt. And now we're going to find out how bad and for how long. Ouch. And while it, you know, boy, can they really go on a run with Jake Browning? I don't know. It looked pretty good for one game. I mean, plus these teams are all playing each other. I mean, if the Bengals are playing the Steelers and the Browns, I mean, it's all backup quarterbacks.
Bengals host the Colts, battle of backups. Host the Vikings, no starter there. At the Steelers, still yet to see a starting quarterback. Then they're at the Chiefs, home for the Browns. So they'll face one starting quarterback the rest of the way.
I mean, his name's Mahomes, but yes.
No, but just put that as a loss.
Right. Now, from a tiebreaker standpoint, the Bengals are not in good shape. Remember, they lost a home game to Houston. So they got the Colts game coming up here, which would seem to be an absolute must-win. I mean, how could you have head-to-head losses to both the Texans and the Colts and think you're going to get in as a wild card? I mean, we're still holding out for, hey, 10 will get you in the AFC.
I believe that it will. I believe any way you get to 10 gets you in, because I just don't see all of these teams at 7-5, 6-6. I don't see all of them getting to 10. They're not good enough. Quite frankly.
I agree. So we think it's going to be 10 and you're in. But you got to get to 10. And maybe, just maybe, third year in a row in the AFC, it's actually going to be 9. It's just a matter of which 9.
I wouldn't be surprised in the least to see the 7 seed in the AFC be a 9-win team. Obviously, it's going to be the 9-win team with the best conference record because it's going to be 3-4 teams that'll all be tied there. But I believe 9 gets you the 7 seed, David.
And goodness knows we've got jambalaya in the NFC also. You've got 4 teams tied at 6-6. 2 of them are in right now. 2 of them are out. Never mind, we haven't brought up yet this week because we don't think they're a good team. But the Tampa Bay Bucks are playing for first place Sunday. That's right. Your 5-7 Bucks who have lost 6 out of 8. They're playing for first Sunday in Atlanta. And let's be honest, the Falcons' starting quarterback situation, they don't have injuries. They just have ineffectiveness.
Has there ever been a game where you're playing for first this late in the season and you're also picking in the top 5?
Well, I don't think they're in the top 5.
Well, okay. Exaggeration.
But they're in the top 8.
10.
They're up there.
But yes, this division is last year, Trent, and we had I think it was Carolina. First, it was New Orleans at Tampa, and then it was Carolina at Tampa late in the year, in which the draft position was laughable, if not for the fact that one of these teams is going to win the division and be drafting like 18th.
Well, put it this way, Tampa and New Orleans. Tampa and New Orleans right now are drafting 9th and 10th, respectively.
Third game out of first.
Which NFC South team do you think would have the best chance to win a playoff game if they're hosting it? The Saints?
Yeah.
No,
because of the dome? I mean,
No,
it's that
no,
bad.
no,
It's to the
no,
point
it's
where we're
not.
talking
No,
about
the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, here's the problem, though. You're posting Dallas or Philly. That's the problem here. I mean, so, which team do you think is the best of the 3? But look at who you're going to be playing.
Yeah, it's a Fugazi hypothetical because you can't even win.
Well, I mean, now maybe if it's Philly, I mean, the Eagles' defense right now looks like it's pretty leaky. This is the 5th game in a row they trailed at the half. The fact they had won the first 4, I mean, they had never done that in franchise history before. I mean, the Eagles were not playing to their record. They're the golfer, Mark. We like to use the expression, go out and you're ham and egging it. The Eagles were ham and egging it until Sunday when the big boys showed up and go, yeah, this ain't going to work.
Yeah, somehow they're on the first page of the leaderboard at 12 under, and everybody's wondering how.
Right. And
then they came back to reality on Sunday.
Right. Wow, he's not hitting fairways. He's not hitting greens. How the hell's he, see
How's Jordan Spieth in this tournament?
Exactly. The whole Hale Irwin line about Seve. I've never seen anybody hit the ball so badly and score so well. So, that's the problem for the NFC South. And that's why, to go full circle, why Miller and Moulton, but definitely Moulton, was pounding the table that the Bucs should trade, because where are we going here? We're going to do it again. We're going to win the division at 8-9 and have Dallas or Philly show up and just pound you.
And the Bucs could win enough games to just put themselves in a horrible spot. Not win the division, finish 7-10,
and pick 10th.
Well, this is why I want Bucs fans to hit the text line and let us know what they're thinking, because you're in a unique situation because 3 years ago you won the Super Bowl, right? And now you're too good to be too bad. And is winning the NFC South even an accomplishment?
I don't know if they're too good to be too bad. I really don't. I mean, you take Mike Evans off that team right now. That's a bottom 5 team in the league. Mike Evans gets a hamstring problem. I don't know they win another game.
They're going to end up picking what, like 10?
10, 12.
And that's not indicative, to David's point, of how bad the team is.
Right. And the worst case scenario is you could still see them winning every division game they play, posting that 8-9 record with a 5-1 NFC South record, winning the damn division, hosting a playoff game, losing by 20, and now they're drafted 19th. That's the worst case scenario, which is GM. I would have said, yeah, I got to make sure this doesn't happen.
Not to mention, you're going to lose your best player in free agency next year, unless you're going to pay him.
Levante David's nearing the end. Are we re-signing Devin White? Probably not, because it's going to cost 20. And if you were going to sign him, wouldn't you have already have done it? So, but anyway, they're playing for first. There you go. Chip in a chair argument, Mark. It's like the poker tournament. If I'm
No, it's not the same damn argument, because this chip doesn't get you anything. This chip in this chair gets you San Francisco or Dallas or Philadelphia. And, even if they could somehow ham and egg their way to one win, they're not going to win multiple games in the postseason. And that's the difference between a chip in a chair and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Was trying to sell it.
I know. And you and I haven't been selling. The only thing we've been selling is the Bucks making trades, and we've been selling that notion since August.
And Miller and Moulton t-shirts. That's what we stumbled upon today. Miller and Moulton merchandise. T-shirts, hats, mugs. We figure we'll sell 9.
Better than 7. That's what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, that's well, because we had a few people in the Twitch chat room said, "Oh, I'd buy one." So okay.
We give them out as Christmas gifts, David.
Well, we're going to have to, because we're going to have so many left in the storage closet. Okay, we're going to be giving them away for years.
Good news is we don't have to have a storage closet.
Well, that's it. It's not really a closet. It'll be more like a box.
Can we just get one of each until it sells?
I hope so. There's got to be a manufacturer that go, how many you want to start with? 2 dozen.
Actually, fortunately there's one you can start out with none.
Huh?
That's what we'll work on. Merchandise for Christmas 2026. That's our goal.
World Cup year. That's right. We're gearing up for the World Cup. We'll have merch for the World Cup. But gotta love sports. Florida State, unfortunately, what do you think their sense of humor was last night? Watching a Washington Husky quarterback, Washington having just won as a 10-point underdog, watching a Washington Husky quarterback go on the road and win as a 10-point underdog. But they don't get the opportunity to play with their backup quarterback.
No, they don't. Because Alabama is in. And the SEC champ was always going to be in. And unfortunately for Florida State, they are now out. And come April, the ACC will completely blow up.
Yes, it will.
I don't care that there's 12 teams. Because they told the ACC, even in the 12-team playoff, you're only getting 1.
Yeah, it's difficult right now to see for the foreseeable future if the ACC blows up, which we think it will, when it reconstitutes with South Florida and other schools like that the ACC will get more than one bid, and the Big 12, quite frankly, for the next few years. It's difficult to imagine that the Big 12 is going to get more than just their automatic bid.
Hey, David, if it doesn't blow up, I see a tough time for it to get more than 1 bid.
Well,
It'll get occasionally it could get 2. If everybody's got their act together,
right,
it could get 2.
Yeah, I mean,
but put it this way: when it comes between Penn State, Ole Miss, and the ACC championship game loser, Ole Miss and Penn State are going to get the nod more times than number 2 in the ACC. They just are. That's what was proven out. It's not because they can't. To me, it's not the new ACC. It's the current ACC. It's what they told the teams that are there right now. It's what they told Florida State. It's what they told Clemson. It's what they told North Carolina. They told them that they're not. They told Miami, you're not good enough to get in as number 2 in your conference going forward.
Oh, hell. And for one final year, you're not even good enough if you're number 1. Miller and Moulton. But yes, we've been on record for a long time, almost a year, saying that the ACC is going to get blown up, and it'll be in the spring of this year. Now, it won't happen where it will affect the 2024 season, but it will get announced this year, and then we'll see how long it actually takes for it to happen. Does the maneuvering happen right away? Remember Oklahoma and Texas announced, and it took, they played, 3-4 more years in the Big 12? 4 more years in the Big 12. 3 more years. 3. Yeah, they got out a year early. So, the same thing could happen with Florida State, Clemson, Miami, etc. Miller and Moulton. For those along the network, thanks so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day. In the 239, the Diamond District bonus hour is next.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Logic Man, you will not see me there. We're having a little soiree at the house Sunday, so I will be preparing. I am not making the youth soccer party on Sunday. The wife may be there with the daughter, but I will not. It's all right, Logic Man. My wife thought it'd be a good idea to go to Pittsburgh for Christmas. And then my brother and sister-in-law thought it'd be a good idea if I cooked dinner for everybody on the 24th. Then my mother-in-law and wife thought it would be a good idea that if we went to church with everybody earlier on the 24th so that I could have to cook more, I guess. Really excited about this trip. Then Joe Burrow got hurt, so I get to see the Steelers play this guy. Oh, and it's not like I have to cook one thing. I'm doing the 7 fishes dinner, so I've got to make 7 entrees. Well, not 7 entrees, 7 different dishes.
You can't go to like Arthur Treacher's and just buy,
I'm going to shove a Long John Silver's fish stick.
I'll get out the tuna mac.
Somewhere I'm not allowed to say on the radio.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this first Tuesday in December. And these are some heady times where an undefeated Florida State team can be kept out of the playoff and the Miami Dolphins are the number 1 seed. What's more ridiculous? What's more unbelievable? What's more shocking, stunning? These are some funny times, Mark.
They definitely are. And welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Make sure you go check them out. Holiday shopping. Best place to go for your jewelry. You know, I see they do the TV commercials too.
Oh,
and the wife doesn't watch any of the football game last night. She's sitting right next to me. I mean, the football game's on, but she's on her phone. She's doing her thing and looking at this and that. And all of a sudden, a Diamond District commercial comes on. Oh, look, there's Jason and Todd.
Oh, yeah. Well, she loves them. The great mystery is why you still like them, because they've got a lot of your money.
Hey, would you wear that shirt? I like that shirt that Todd has on. Would you wear that shirt? Not paying any attention to the game. 30 seconds, I get a wardrobe breakdown for crying out loud.
Wear that shirt. I look right at her. How much more do I have to give Todd?
Right now, I got to buy his shirts too.
Now I got to buy his shirts.
Maybe I'll stop in and see where they shop at.
Hey guys, can you help me out? The least you could do. Could you give me some fashion tips? Apparently, I need them.
I know. Well, and see, Todd's a little more conservative. Jason's the one that wears the wild sport jackets. They used to this role's been reversed. They've both gone wild with the sport jacket in different times. David, I wanted to do a little public service announcement because I saw this story yesterday.
Okay.
And I thought it was a little much, but maybe I'm wrong because NBC-2 reported a story of a Florida Panther being found sleeping in a stairwell at the Bonita Springs Golf Club. And they were able to get it out and trap it and do the proper thing, and they're going to release it into the wild and all that. That's fine. But at the end of the story, it says encounters with Florida Panthers are relatively rare to occur. But if you encounter a Florida Panther, it gives you a checklist of what not to do.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if anything but run is on the list, then it's a good list.
Moulton, you're dead. Just want to let you know, based on what you said, you're Panther food.
You don't run.
You don't run. Literally, it says, do not run.
What do you do? Stop, drop, and run.
Stand and face the animal. Make eye contact.
Really? What am I, Fran McCaffrey with an official? We're going to have a stare down? Oh, you Panther, you think you're tough. Okay, yeah, show me your claws, you.
The first one it says is to keep your children within sight and close to you. All right. Fair enough. Give the Panther space. Most Panthers will avoid a confrontation. Give them a way to escape.
I want to give them a quarter mile as quickly as possible. How much more space do they need?
Do not run. Stand and face the animal. Make eye contact.
It's the dumbest thing ever.
Avoid crouching or bending over. Squatting or bending makes you look smaller, resembling a prey-sized animal.
So I'm supposed to stand there, stick my chest out, and stare the sucker down.
Not just that, David. Make yourself appear larger. Open your jacket, raise your arms, throw stones, branches, without turning away.
I thought I'm not supposed to have sudden movements. Besides, make myself seem large.
Never once did it say no sudden movement. It said do not run.
Gotcha. Appearing larger, does that mean I can let my gut out?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hey, listen, Mr. Panther or Mrs. Panther. Listen, don't mind me. I'm just going to take my belt off. Okay?
Go all machine in. Machine head. Breathe in, breathe out. Make yourself appear bigger. Now, here's the one that I love. If attacked, fight back with whatever is at hand. Of course, it says in parentheses, David, without turning your back.
Wait, why would I not turn my back?
Well, you're being attacked. You don't turn your back to an attacking panther.
So I let him scratch my face? You know? I just...
All I know is that you're going to run your panther meat. I'm staring this sucker down.
Listen, I come around a corner, there's a panther. I'm gone. Okay? I'm not going to go, oh, nope. Honey, hold on. Grab my hand. Nope. Let's walk closer. Honey, look larger. Look larger and stare that sucker down.
Never, ever tell your wife to look larger.
Exactly. Honey, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity as we're facing death via the panther to say, you look fat in those jeans. Okay. Since I'm going to be killed in the next 3 minutes, I can finally say, don't wear those. They're going to kill me. You're going to live. For the next guy, don't wear those jeans.
Remember those pants I said you looked good in, honey? God, I wish you had those on today because I need you to look larger.
Right. Honey, remember you asked me tonight, is my ass fat in these jeans? As a matter of fact, it is. Turn around and face the panther.
Need you to prove it.
The problem is you may survive the panther attack at that point, but you will not survive the attack of your spouse.
Right. So I think I'd rather die at the hands of the panther. At least she gets the insurance money. Golly. Stare the panther down. Do not run. Okay. All right. Mark, I have a problem with authority. I'm going to do this one my way, if it's okay. If I come around the corner and there's a panther, I'm gone.
Well, I hope I don't see one.
You thought I was quick getting that foul ball. You wait to see how quick I am when I see the Panther. Mm-hmm.
Knees will be up at your neck.
Gone. I'll be like Ronaldo Nehemiah with hurdles. Edwin Moses will go, damn, look at him. I'll be gone. Yep. Michael
But I saw that story and I immediately thought, do not run.
Yep.
Stare the Panther down.
Stare the Panther down. Right.
Make eye contact. Just like when you go in for that job interview, David, eye contact is everything.
Yep. I want to be Bobby Knight walking off the court looking at Teddy Valentine. Absolutely. That's how I want to treat the Panda.
Or the Panther.
Yeah, I wish it was a
Panda's
panda.
probably a whole different setup.
I don't know how you handle a panda.
I don't either. Maybe it's some
Give it a hug.
Food, I guess. I don't know. So I have to go Fran McCaffrey and treat the Panther like an official.
Yes.
Do I then get at some? Does it say anything about yelling at the Panther?
I don't know if the Panther can tee you up if you stare too long.
Oh, it can tee me up, all right.
T-bone you up.
Listen, it goes straight from the first technical to the second technical. Boom. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Don't run. Okay. No offense. I'm leaving now. Okay. No, the seminar goes on for another 3 hours. I get it. No, it's good.
This is like the story of, seeing the alligator on the golf course and, you run zigzags and all that stuff. No. Just be faster than one other guy in your foursome. That's all you're looking to do here.
I will say, though.
Down here?
Yes.
Okay. See,
you still haven't. You know what? Man, there's a lot we got to do with you.
Yeah.
Holy, do you actually see gators here? Yes.
Well,
here's another thing. That Gulf of Mexico out there, there's sharks in it.
Yep. And this just in, that's their body of water.
That's not Lake Michigan.
No.
Okay?
No.
Note taken.
There are things in that water that can eat you and will.
And will.
That's like...
In fact... Okay, Trent, honestly, the only body of water in Florida in which you will not be eaten in is a pool. Okay, just remember that. Canals, not good.
That's why everyone has a pool down here.
Yes. Why aren't you in the Gulf? Well, there's friends there.
It's not even getting into the brain-eating amoeba bacteria that are in there that can kill you. I mean, that doesn't even get into all that stuff.
But it looks pretty.
Adam, I've seen tons of lizards. I like those.
That's pretty.
Those are fun little guys.
Don't run. And you thought of me.
Immediately. Yeah. I looked at that story and went, I'm bringing this up. It's a good little PSA to inform everybody, and Moulton's going to disagree with every single thing that's on it.
I feel like I'm back in a radio television meeting with a consultant, and they tell us something, and they finally go around the room, and is there any questions or comments? And they get to me, and I go, are you kidding me? Seriously, you want us to do what?
And
what?
Part of this is that David, if this story's on the website, they did 3 minutes on it on the news because it's a Panther, it's at a golf course,
First off, no. I fine. No. You want me to listen to you? Fine. How did you compile the information? Did you stare the Panther down? Okay, so you tried it once running and you tried it once staring the Panther. Is that what you're telling me? I'm sorry. When they do the political and the polling and it's got plus or minus 3%, but they've surveyed like 800 people. I'm just curious, how many people have you surveyed for this information? Because I think there's a chance that it's plus or minus 100%.
David, the guy that ran didn't make it. It was a really easy task. He ran. They ran him down.
Okay.
The other guy stared him down. He lived.
So that's it. So that's it. We two people we did here.
I'd stare down a Panther.
I'll
stare down a Panther.
Really? You come around the corner, you see a Panther. And you're going to go, I read that story on NBC-2.com.
Get big.
I'm going to do the crane.
I'm going to stick my chest
I'm going
out.
to look at that thing, get the leg up.
going to stick my chest out. I'm going to look as big as possible. I'm going to stare that blankety blank down.
Got that right.
Yep. Oh, you're coming at me. I'm not going to move. I can't run. Can't run. Oh, and I can't turn my back to you either. Why you guy?
I'm going to fight you like a man. Or
Yeah.
like a cat.
Yep.
Start backpedaling. Hightail it. Don't turn your back.
So you're Foreman and I'm Frazier. That's okay. Golly.
So just a little PSA for you, David. Stare the panther down and unbuckle, or
listen.
make yourself look bigger.
Listen, I love a stare me down. In fact, I'd prefer to a lot of people in my life to just stare at them instead of talk to them. And I love to stick my belly out. But I am running like a blankety blank.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's just another thing I have to do to get initiated into the whole Florida thing is I have to see a gator.
Yes.
Oh, you will.
So 2 days ago, the cat was on the back patio, and I walked outside trying to come in. I'm like, what does it have in its mouth? Oh, it has a snake.
Great.
Yeah, I made the wife take care of it.
A racer?
I don't know, just a little guy, but my cat cut it in half with its teeth. Literally took the head off the snake, and the head, little short head, crawling around with no body.
That's unsettling. David would have taken a Tupperware and
cut off its head.
I looked at the wife and said, "You're the veterinarian. Take care of that."
Perks of being married to a vet.
She called me out for hours. But to what Logic Man says in there, you got to do it in the summer.
Okay.
Summer's better than the winter because when it's cold out, the gators aren't around as much. Summertime, you see a lot more of them.
I am genuinely intrigued. I'm excited
To see a gator?
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen an animal that exotic.
Right?
You know, I'm from Michigan. I see deer and that's it. Coyote, if you're lucky.
See those here too. Bobcats occasionally. There's a little bit of wildlife here.
I don't want to see a panther.
Just remember to stare down.
Just stare the mother.
I love that you went consultant.
Well, because I did that one time.
I'm not surprised. Hornon texts me, says there's a bill being proposed that you can be justifiable in shooting a bear. Basically, it's like the stand the ground law. He's like, therefore, on the checklist, I think there should be fire your gun if attacked. I don't know. They're endangered, though, Michael. Panther tastes a little bit like bald eagle, not as much like manatee.
Florida does have different definitions for stand my ground, I'll tell you.
You want a piece of me?
Hey, Paulie.
Hey, what are you looking at?
Hey, Paulie the Panther. You want a piece of me?
What are we in Jersey with this panther?
Well, I mean, if you're going to say you want a piece of me, I mean, what are you going to do? Go, you want a piece of me? I mean, this isn't Ron Burgundy or anything. FU San Diego?
There we go. Finally, someone got their head out of there. You know where.
It's always
Oh, yeah, Trent, you really should go down to Everglades City and do the tour. Take the airboat.
I will.
You'll feel like a...
Everglades City is worth going to just by itself.
A lot of good suggestions from the Twitch chat room. I appreciate it.
But you go past the road for Everglades City, you go another 10 miles on 41. It's Turner River, Tucker River, Turner River.
Okay.
The park, there's a state park or area there, and I've never seen gators.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. We've learned a lot so far in the Diamond District bonus hour. Mark needs to dress more like, is it Todd or Jason?
Both, apparently.
Apparently. So Mark needs to, not only does he have to keep buying from Todd and Jason, he then has to start dressing like them. And if you run into a panther, don't take a step back, stick your chest out, get as menacing as possible, and stare that blankety blank down.
Now you're figuring it out, David.
Hey, Paulie the Panther, you want a piece of me? That's apparently what we're learning here on Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday.
What, are you going to play yes, no, maybe so instead?
Well, I mean, I could. Hey, do you really think Ohtani's going to sign with Toronto?
No.
I don't either. But he apparently met with them in Dunedin yesterday.
A lot of talk yesterday that David Samson mentioned it earlier in the show that he's staying with the Angels. That the routine, that how they let him handle his affairs is a big part of this. I don't get any of that because what team isn't going to let him handle his affairs however the hell he wants, David?
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to be a diva wide receiver, well, okay.
You're paying him like one. You might as well let him do whatever the hell he wants.
I mean, hell, Does he hit? And he pitches. What? Yeah. Uh-huh. So he's a little mercurial. Whatever. Listen, we're on the 9 for 500 was our offer, right? And
Yes.
everybody said we were bat blank crazy.
Bingo.
Right. He's going to get at least 9 for 500. He might get 10 for 600. It's the other thing people said we were nuts about. We're like, well, how much are you going to pay him if he was just a hitter? Judge got $40 million a year for 9 years. If Ohtani was just a hitter, Mark, if they said this elbow injury, it's career ending. He's only going to be a hitter. Ohtani's on the market right now. What's he going to get? Would he get Judge? Would he get 9 for 360?
I think so.
It's close. It's close.
I was thinking I was thinking more like 30 a year.
So 9 for 270?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it'd be higher. And if you want to split the difference, 9 or 10 for,
whatever.
Do the math. Right. 35 a year. Fine. Oh, he pitches. Huh.
Have you paid attention to this show just for, and you might not be listening early when David does the starting five, but have you paid any attention to what baseball is signing mid-level starters for right now?
Right.
10, 12 million a year for a third starter.
Hell, maybe even a fourth star. I mean, the Michael Walkers of the world are getting 12 million. What do we think Ohtani's going to get? He had Tommy John. Hell, so what? Everybody who's a pitcher has Tommy John. In fact, there's a lot of organizations that are like, man, get yours over with earlier. It'll be better for your career. You don't want to have it happen later. So if he's getting 35 as a hitter, what's he getting as a pitcher? 25? Okay, do the math. Let's add it up. And I don't believe that, like David Samson's talked about, well, only paying him so much for this year because he's not pitching. And
then you're out of the negotiations.
Yes.
That's the part of this that I don't think people take into account. Oh, okay. You're going to not pay him as a pitcher this year. Well, Toronto is.
Yeah.
Seattle will. The Braves will, or whatever the case may be. If you're not, there's 5 other teams that will.
I think Toronto would be great for Ohtani if apparently he wants to be left alone and, come and go and do his thing. Toronto's a great city for him to do that in. So, anyway, baseball winter meetings going on. The thought is Ohtani has to be taken care of before we then deal with Juan Soto and Bellinger and anybody else. Then there's the Japanese pitcher, and he's being posted, and apparently we're talking, $200 million for this guy. So that's got to get resolved before we then go and we trade for Glasnow. We sign Montgomery, and so apparently the 2 Japanese guys are holding everything up. One guy who's already come and conquered. The other guy who's 25 and they say is about to. Here's what I'm wondering. If 3 minutes after Ohtani signs with someone else not named the Angels, don't you have to get rid of Trout? And don't you, if you're Mike Trout, finally say, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll only okay it if it's one of these 3-4 teams. If you're the Angels, you're hoping it's just not Phillies or nothing. Because he grew up in South Jersey.
Which it very well could be.
Yeah, I mean, he's an Eagles season ticket holder. He grew up in South Jersey,
Just
across the
golf
river.
course in Jersey with Tiger and
right. So, he may only be interested if I'm not going to stay here, I may only be interested in the Phillies. But if by chance he's willing to, I don't know, play for one or two of the teams just to the south. I mean, if you're the Orioles, you've got the prospects. You can acquire Mike Trout. Or a couple of teams in the New York metropolitan area. They could use an outfielder or 2, and they can afford you. But, that's all. I'm thinking that no one's talking about Trout. It's difficult for me to imagine, Mark, that domino doesn't fall if Ohtani's gone.
Do you think it falls in the offseason, or do you think this is a trade deadline deal? When do you think it happens?
No, I think it happens this month. I think it happens within 3 weeks of Ohtani signing somewhere that's not the Angels. And I actually think Trout and the Angels have already had the conversation.
But with Ohtani being, the rumors are that more heavily that he's staying with the Angels than he's not as of today. It could all change. David and I have been on Seattle for over a year.
By the way, if he signs with the Angels, then you never believe a single word that comes out of him or his interpreter or his people ever again. Because what is it that he said? Nothing more important than winning. Now, we all know that's not true. Nothing's more important than cash. Okay, but the second most important thing is winning.
And the cash is going to be equal everywhere.
Yeah, pretty
much. For
much.
the most part.
But winning. You're not staying with the Angels if you're interested in winning. And I mean interested in winning when? 3 years? I mean, honestly, let's look at the Angels. One of the 5 worst farm systems in baseball. They had just built it up from being the worst farm system in baseball to being respectable, and they traded all of their good people away at the deadline, desperately trying to show Ohtani how much they want to win and make the playoffs this year. And it completely backfired. And then he got hurt 3 hours later. So their farm system sucks. Their major league team sucks. Their best player is about to leave, and their second best player is 31 years old and has been injured for the last 3 years. What am I missing here? Oh, yeah, the World Series champions are in their division, and last year's World Series champions in their division. And while Seattle's GM is screwing up the organization, that organization has talent up and down it. When are you going to win again?
And the worst team in the division is actually moving, which you'll see them actually try to maybe spend some money. Maybe. So you're on to something there. Tough to believe a guy that says he wants to win if he signs with the Angels.
Now, listen, it's tough to knock anything that the Rays do. If they trade Glass now, that's the whole is $20 million a year, the budget, the whole deal. But there's rumors about a Rosarena. Hey now. Starting 5, good, bad, and ugly, what's on tap? It's all next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District. Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So does Takori come once a year?
Oh, they have that. I don't know. I don't even know. That's one of their designers that they have there.
Yeah.
David just had, for whatever reason, that hit him.
Beyonce.
Madonna.
Takori, Madonna, Beyonce.
I also heard there's big snakes here, like big snakes.
Yeah. I've seen. I saw a large, like I saw the biggest rattlesnake I've ever seen on a golf course here.
Really?
Now there's the pythons that are here they're not from here. You know, they're evasive.
Right.
I've never seen a python. Water moccasins can bite and hurt you very badly.
Eek. Snakes don't freak me out like some people, but I don't want to touch them.
We also have brown recluse spiders that can bite you and do damage.
Oof. Help me. Bubble wrap me.
That's true. Black widows too. You're right. Thanks, guys. I forgot I had those in my garage.
Black widows. Thought that was a mythical thing.
No, we have several
Superhero.
snakes that could kill you, and spiders.
Lovely.
There's a guy that I was following on TikTok who always everything's about a public sub, but now with everybody moving down here, he's doing the whole thing. No, we got these brain-eating bacteria in the water. We got snakes. No, go home. Go back.
Leave. Yeah, it might be 75 and sunny every day, but we have a lot of animals that can kill you.
Right. So go home.
How long would it take you to drive to Daytona from here?
4 hours.
Because okay. It's up by Jacksonville, right?
Yeah.
Or near it, at least.
It's 90 miles south of Jacksonville.
Okay.
It's an hour east of Orlando.
So 4.5. 4.5.
4. You could do it in 4.
It depends how you get through I-4. Good luck.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, you're better off going through the center of the state and staying off I-4 as long as you can. Is 10:30 too late for you to do your thing? Do you need to do it sooner?
No.
Because I'd like to run out right after the show and do something and come back. So you're going to hit me with a link?
Yeah, that's
type
all.
deal?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll keep the equipment on.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're done. Our final segment in the Diamond District bonus hour on this first Tuesday of December, where the Miami Dolphins are the number 1 seed in the AFC if the playoffs got underway today. Dolphins should win their next 2 games. Tennessee and the Jets, both at home. Then, well, we'll see what kind of a playoff team the Dolphins are going to be. Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo. Yeah.
I will say, Miami and Dallas sounds fun, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean, doesn't that sound like an entertaining football game?
Miami in anything sounds like an entertaining game. Although, don't you want Mike McDaniel at Super Bowl week? I mean, that's the coach we need for all of that nonsense and media requests and what have you. He'd get all those insane questions and he'd actually think about them and he'd say to the reporters, really? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of, in that regard, there's a little bit of Mike Leach.
Yeah.
But if you're going to ask the question, be prepared for whatever answer he's going to give you, because McDaniel seems to think about every answer he gives and puts a little into it. So you're all right. That would be fantastic.
But also, and then you'd have the Tyreek, Jalen Ramsey. Oh my goodness, what they would be like. You know, Tua now after last night, he could play his guitar. And I don't know. I was saying it last night. Like the Dolphins are on Monday Night Football this coming Monday, but Joe and Troy are being sent to Jersey for the Packers and the Giants. You know, Tommy DeVito and all.
Right.
Right. Instead of, the number 1 seed in the AFC, which we haven't seen all year. We've already done the Packers and we've already done the Giants. But anyway.
You know what we need more primetime? New York Giant football.
Right. I think more games from MetLife.
Right. The world needs more of the Giants and Jets on primetime national television, because it's been such a really great watch all year long.
When you think entertaining, you think the Giants and the Jets.
You do.
There's no doubt about it.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller. Today was the day when.
All right, we start in 1792 today. George Washington reelected. 1804, Jefferson reelected. 1832, Andrew Jackson reelected. Seems like we made the right decision on all of these. It was in 1848 today when James K. Polk triggers the gold rush by confirming a gold discovery in California. 1908, the first U.S. football team to use numerals. The University of Pittsburgh put numbers on their jerseys.
What year was that?
1908.
Okay, interesting. Do you know what sport used numbers first? Like, did baseball and then everyone followed?
I don't know.
Because that would be interesting to see.
I don't know. 1929, the first nudist organization, the American League for Physical Culture in New York City. 1943, the Eagles-Steelers merger dissolves. Today in 47, Joe Louis beats Jersey Joe Walcott in 15 for the heavyweight title. Today in 55, we had that Rosa Parks wouldn't move a couple of days ago, but it was today in 55 that the bus boycott began in Montgomery, Alabama, and the Montgomery Improvement Association, formed by Ralph Abernathy and Martin Luther King, started today as well.
Change the nation.
1965, the debut album of The Who, My Generation, is released. Today in 68, Phil Esposito scores 2 on brother Tony Esposito and Tony's debut for the Canadians. Take that.
That's tough. Now you and I are only children, so we don't know, but that just sounds tough.
Phil was probably smiling at him too.
Probably was.
1970, the Stanley Cup, the Conn Smythe Trophy, and the Bill Masterson Trophy are all stolen from the Hockey Hall of Fame. An anonymous woman tried to bargain for the cup's safe return on 6 different occasions, once threatening to throw the cup into Lake Ontario unless all charges were dropped. It would be on December the 23rd, a police officer found the trophies abandoned in his driveway. 1973, McCartney and Wings released Band on the Run. Ron Santo becomes the first baseball player to invoke the 10-5 rule and veto his trade today in 73 as well. He was with the Cubs. The trade was with the Angels. The Seahawks were formed today in 1974. Ricky Henderson was traded from the A's to the Yankees today in 84. The first SEC championship was today in 92. Alabama 28, Florida 21. Ocean's 11 was released in 2001 today. And today in 2008, OJ was sentenced to 33 years for kidnapping and armed robbery.
You don't think there was some payback going on there, do you?
Like the tripping call that was missed in the first period, David. Martin Van Buren, our 8th president, George Custer, Walt Disney, and Little Richard, all born today. Jim Plunkett, 76, Lanny Watkins is 74, and Art Monk is 66. What did I miss, David?
It was today in 1945 that 5 U.S. Navy bombers took off from Fort Lauderdale. They were going on a 3-hour training mission. Yeah, they disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. That's when it started. Also, today in 78, the Soviet Union and Afghanistan signed a friendship treaty. That went over about as well as the Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12 alliance. Considering a year later, I think Afghanistan killed the leader that the Soviets put in charge of the company. And then, those guys went to war for 10 years. This just in, Afghanistan won. And 10 years ago today, Nelson Mandela died at the age of 95.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to South Carolina, where Spike the dog got stuck in a dryer vent. And fortunately for him, firefighters and police in South Carolina rescued the dog, whose head was stuck in a dryer vent. The picture is fantastic, to say the very least. For the bad, we go to the state of Washington, where a gentleman ran for the Rainier City Council, Damian Green. He lost by 1 vote.
Huh.
He didn't vote.
Wow.
If he would have voted for himself, there would have been a tie. But he thought it was narcissistic to vote for himself, so he didn't. And he lost by a vote.
By the way, I'm curious. What's the tiebreaker in an election?
I believe it's whoever quarterback is healthy.
Do we go to a committee? How does that work?
How did they do against Texas?
Hey, any one of you the SEC champion? Any one of you ever been to an SEC football game? All right.
Not play in the ACC.
Okay, you're mayor. Congratulations.
For the ugly, we go to Sanford, Florida, where Angelique Glenn was arrested on 2 counts of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon following an incident Thursday evening. She put her wine up on the counter, and there was a couple in front of her who were paying for their items and somehow paid for her wine by mistake. They realized they paid for her wine. They got their money refunded. It was at that point that Angelique got pissed off and said, "Why can't you pay for my bottle of wine?" Then she began to threaten the woman and her boyfriend before taking the wine bottle and striking the woman in the head with it.
Oh, come on.
After she hit the woman in the head with the bottle, she swung the bottle, hitting the woman's boyfriend in the face, knocking him out cold. She took off and tried to get an Uber who refused to drive her, so she left the Wawa by foot. She was picked up and taken to jail. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on December the 5th, 2023.
Just 2 games in the association tonight, but it's the NBA in-season tournament.
Lot to find out tonight, David.
Winners go to Vegas in the semis. Knicks and Bucks, Phoenix and the Lakers, 7:30, 10 o'clock TNT. NHL, there's 8 games tonight. Lightning and Panthers are both off. Mark and Trent's Wings are in Buffalo. My Rangers are in Ottawa.
Kane's debut for the Wings tonight.
I'm sorry, what?
Patrick Kane's debut for the Wings tonight.
Showtime.
And it's in his hometown of Buffalo, or home region anyway.
Yeah.
That's neat. Good night of college hoops. I mean, FAU 6:30, ESPN taking on Illinois. FAU a 2.5-point favorite. I love the Owls tonight. But, Wisconsin's at Sparty. Mark, Trent.
Yep.
Do you know where you can find your Spartans tonight?
Give it to me.
Peacock.
Peacock?
Oh, really?
It's on Peacock.
It's on Peacock. It's 7.
By the way, I have Peacock if either one of you ever need my login. Because
in my palatial condo, you think I need to come to your place?
I wasn't saying come to my
You
place.
walked right into that, Trent. You walked right into it.
If you need my login, I'll share it with you.
2.5 hours ago, and he said I live in my palatial whatever, and it was clearly mocking. And Mark took it as mocking. I took it as mocking. Trent's like, "Oh no, I was paying you a compliment."
I meant nothing by it.
You're whatever. North Carolina, UConn in the Jimmy V Classic. It's the second game of the Jimmy V Classic. The first game's FAU, Illinois. So the nightcaps, North Carolina and UConn. If you're interested, they're only in the top 10, both, royalty programs and all. That's pretty much it. We got the Big East, Big 12. That battle's still going on. A couple of those games. But I think that's it.
I think it is too. But we've got the in-season tournament, David, and I think that's that's where people's heads are at sports-wise, because it's win or go home night.
Oh, can't you feel the tension?
Your Knicks are in it, and you don't even care.
No, although I will say they can't beat the good teams. Like they're either 9 or 10-0 against teams below 500. They're like 2 and whatever, 2 and 7 or something like that against the quote unquote good teams, playoff.
So you'd lay the 4.5 with the Bucks tonight, is what you're telling me.
Well, and they played once earlier in the year. It was a really close game in the final minute, and Milwaukee had a couple shots. But I will say, like for Milwaukee, whatever. But for the Knicks, at some point, the Knicks got to start beating some good teams to be taken seriously, or else they're just kind of fodder.
Now, if you buy into conspiracy theories and think that LeBron has to be in the Final Four of the in-season tournament, don't you take the Lakers and lay the 1.5 tonight?
Well, that, and if you look at who they put in the Lakers draw to at least get them to the quarterfinals, the fix was in to get the Lakers into the quarterfinals. It was. There was no doubt about it. I think FGCU was in their region.
Hey, they scheduled a win tonight. Good for them.
They did. The New College of Florida. Is that actually the name of the college, or is that like literally they're still waiting to name it? Well, what are you guys going to go by until you come up with a name? I don't know. New College. So That's who they're playing tonight. So they'll go to 3-7, which is nice. And there you go.
That's what's going on tonight in the sports world. If you missed any of the show, go to floridasportsnetwork.com or any of the usual spots to download the podcast of today's show. David Samson and Pat Kirwan, both guests today.
Hey, what do you say, Bud Elliott, Seth Everett, at the very least tomorrow, and someone from Pro Football Network? What do you say?
Works for me.
Some big news later today. In all seriousness, Doug Peterson addresses the media at a little past noon, and Doug Peterson is very open with the media. He will let everyone know what Trevor Lawrence's injury extent is. It could change the AFC playoff picture. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for listening to Miller and Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and